The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey.
Why?
Let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You ping.
Stunner! Damn it! Your friend tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Sports Thursday, July 25th, 2024. This program starts now. It's been a fantastic week. Obviously, sports have been back in full force with NFL training camps taking place. The Olympic ceremony is tomorrow night, but the Olympic Games have already begun. Our soccer team lost 3-0 to France. Our rugby team is rolling, though, and all of our greatest sports are obviously ahead of us, and we can't wait to keep up with it all. Today's show is packed. We got Mike Greenberg of Get Up and multiple Hall of Fames for broadcasting joining us in about 15 minutes. He's in the middle of one. He's in the middle of some excitement because Aaron Rodgers is back with the New York Jets. He's also in the middle of a little confusion on how they've handled every situation surrounding Aaron Rodgers being back with the Jets. And Hassan Reddick, the guy who was also unexcused for mandatory minicamp, he is officially a holdout. Aaron Rodgers is dealing in practice. Cannot wait to hear what Mike Greenberg has to say about the hopes and the dreams of the New York Jets. Also, everything else happening in the sports world. Obviously, he talks about it all. Dwight Freeney will be joining us in about 40 minutes or so. He's going into the Hall of Fame next weekend. I'm so incredibly pumped and proud of him. We'll hopefully get a chance to be at the after party after the SummerSlam celebration. But what this guy did was change football. Just completely changed football. Out of Syracuse, obviously a school that is known for creating puppets in the journalism world. Yep. They also used to create absolute dogs on the football field. It was an honor to go up and play up there in that dome. It was beautiful. His first game I ever played college football was in Syracuse. Their crowd was loud. It was obviously a passionate bunch, but then you learn about the history there, and that guy is one of the biggest pieces in the history of football. Through Syracuse, through the Indianapolis Colts, went on to play at a couple different places as he continued out his Hall of Fame career and was one of the best teammates I've ever had. Talk about a guy that actually would send his limo to pick you up if you're in a spot. A guy that invited me to a lot of things as a rookie punter that you would never expect to get invited to. Card games in which I'm sitting next to people that are part of the Jordan brand, in this entire thing. And I'm like, Freeney, you got to be one of the nicest, most humble, ridiculous superstar athletes to ever exist. And I think that's just a matter of fact. So whenever somebody like this is getting celebrated, we all should celebrate it because that more often than not, the good guy doesn't get all of the accolades. And Dwight Freeney was certainly that. And I can't wait to chat with him. Absolute beast off the edge.
Yes.
Weapon.
Fast. Powerful, strategic. He just had it all. And the chip block was created because of 93 by Bill Belichick up in New England. We'll ask him about all that. And then we have Coach Dahn Lanning, the head coach of Oregon. We caught up with him earlier today. We'll run that in the second hour. He is awesome.
The man.
He flew into Indianapolis for the Big Ten Media Days, and we talked to him at 4:45 local time for him. 4:45 a.m. local time is when we talked. Wait till you see his energy. 4:45, fresh off a plane. It's like this guy is magnetic. This guy's 38 years old, and this guy's team is being projected to be the national champions by a guy named Kirk Herbstreit.
That's right.
Who said, I may have them winning it all. What's that mean, Kirk? What does that mean, Kirk? Well, we asked him about it. We chit-chatted with him. He was awesome. Cannot wait for you all to see his performance here and maybe a performance by somebody else on the stage. Talks Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Boys, less than a week away from you guys at WW2K.
Here we go.
Obviously, it's heating up. Shawn Michaels has heard the chirping and the entire process of this. I don't know if he knows the entirety of it, but he certainly heard what you had to say about some of the fans who are telling you that you're a waste of space, that you're an absolute bum, that you've done nothing for the business business, and that some NXT superstars, to be named, should be in the game over you. Now, we have clearly said that was a loud sentiment that we heard a lot of. People upset that I'm in there. Okay, I'm undefeated at WrestleMania, so you tell me. You tell me in this entire thing. But the boys certainly have been attacked, and we have tried to explain numerous times. Created, didn't take anybody's spot. These were added, bonus, added on. Didn't take anybody's spot, but wrestling fans, very passionate.
Sure.
Obviously, they want to see their particular superstar that they love, and they've been watching along with on NXT, which is heading to CW, or on Raw and SmackDown, which I think everybody that is on TV is in there on a regular basis. But you've been attacked, and the other day you decided to fight back a little bit. And I think Shawn Michaels, potentially, the guy running NXT right now, unprecedented success that NXT's having right now, and Shawn Michaels. I think he got a little bit upset. And to that, you say?
Listen, I can appreciate a guy standing up for his guys. Okay?
Amen.
Because that's exactly what you were doing when everyone was attacking us. So I can appreciate that sentiment. Again, the whole going right to, hey, let's step in the squared circle with these guys. Never said anything about their toughness, their in-ring work, or anything like that. I just said, no one really knows who these people are, okay?
That wasn't how you said it.
No, I said
which is why I didn't expect you to say what you said either, which was certainly you said a little different.
Yeah, I said they were losers and nobodies because I was kind of swept up in the emotion of, hey, when you're just getting attacked and just under constant, gunfire and barrage for
siege.
Under siege.
There you go.
Yeah, shout out Steven Seagal. When you're just under siege for several days, at some point you're just going to get fed up. And guess what? The four of us that he mentioned in that tweet. You will see us in the squared circle against, the
any four he wants.
Yeah, any four he wants. Your four best in NXT. You'll see us next Wednesday, okay? On the Mostly Sports stream that Connor just started, okay? You will see us in there next Wednesday. Oh, no, wait.
Pretty much.
We won't be able to get in with his best four because they're not in the game.
Oh, come on.
So
you're bearing everything.
So what we will do is
it's called Pretty Much Sports, first of all.
We're still kind of working out the kinks.
Mostly not bad.
Yeah, mostly sports, pretty much sports.
But that's part of the problem is they're not going to be in there, which I think is what everybody's pissed off about.
Sure, and guess what? I'm not on the development team of WWE 2K, so I apologize that they're not in there. But you know what we're going to do?
What's that?
We're going to create them. Okay, we're going to create the send in the four guys. HBK, name the four guys you want in there for a War Games match. We'll create them on there, and then they can step in there with Connor, myself, AJ, and Darius, who kind of got roped into this thing as well. And then we're going to beat the piss out of them. We're going to beat the piss out of them.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
What if you lose that one? I mean, what if that is the debut
well,
for...
See, that's the other thing that people, bumping their gums. Listen, I'm pretty good at this game. Okay, I played it quite a bit and for quite some time. So,
and we're playing on NXT difficulty.
Exactly. So,
what's that mean? What's NXT difficulty mean?
It's like freshman in NCAA.
Oh, come on! See, this is the issue. You guys just can't help yourself. We just have to continue to do it.
I'm just saying. I mean, they made us 71s and 69s.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
do you want from us? We can't play on Bloodline difficulty.
Well, I want to let you know I'm happy and pumped you guys are in the game.
So
at this point,
I was going to say, is it even worth it?
Yes, it is.
And you know what?
Thanks for the download.
I thought giving someone a good rib was part of the wrestling business. I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, everyone's working themselves into shoots these days. Who knew we had
brother?
Thank you.
Joining us, sitting in for D-Butch, who's the artist formerly known as the COVID cowboy, Tone Diggs' seat, because Tone has his own town now, which we're going to make work. It's supposed to be 2 weeks into this, remember, but we had a delay of game in the entire thing. That's going to be worth it for whenever football season comes. It's going to be beautiful. Hammer, Dahn, Tone Diggs is going to be worth it. I think, hey, we're going to figure it out, Tone, aren't we?
I have no doubt in my mind, brother.
Yeah, and you're in a good spot. You look super cool over there, too, if it means anything. You're in town.
I do my best. It's about all I got going on in my life.
On the stage,
Tony.
Great dad.
Come on.
Phenomenal husband.
Look good.
In best shape you've ever been in. You got a gambler's guide, need to know gambler's guide for all college football coming out soon. What are you talking about? You always think you got going. You got too much going on.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, charity. This guy's giving back. Philanthropy. I mean, saving the world.
I will never do charity in my life.
Okay. See, that's the problem with Hammer Dahn.
Yeah, I thought every book that gets
funny.
All right.
Every book that gets bought goes to
Bruce Brown's up here. Way to go, Bruce. Good to see you.
Thanks.
And ladies and gentlemen, a man who refused to play any other position in football other than corner, the most athletic position, the most athletically gifted position in the entire sport of football. For more than a damn decade, ladies and gentlemen, former number 6 overall pick, Pac Banjo.
Yeah.
What's going on, Pac? How you doing, bub?
What's going on, bro?
So they're in WWE 2K. Hey, you've been in TNA. You've been a champion before in professional wrestling. You understand that whenever you're helping build a program like these boys have done, obviously, you want to get in there and get recognized.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see y'all in the game. I'm quite sure Connor's going to have some crazy move that he's probably done.
No idea.
Oh,
yeah.
Funny you say that, and we would like to give a shout out to the developers because joining us live from Manatee, Ohio, a little bit earlier today, college football national champion, Super Bowl champion, Ryder Cup winner, ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk. Hawker, also in WWE 2K. I don't think these people truly respect these developers and coders enough because from what I heard from the way you described how you want your entrance to be to these developers to what it became is like the exact thing. And then even with the toxic table, D-Butt walked through his entire thing and they listened and executed it all. Your entrance, AJ, may be my favorite thing that I've seen in some time. Look at your little legs just get it going. You know, whenever you start sprinting out here. I don't know. I guess, look at these little legs. That's exactly what you said, right? Isn't it, AJ, this whole thing?
Hey, first time I watched this, look, I was like, wow, they listened to everything I said, and I started counting how many times he's run the ropes. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, here we go. And now we stare down our opponent, and we just stand there. We don't do anything. They wanted me to, like, do all kind of different movements, and I legit, I acted this out for 10 minutes for them. They filmed me. I didn't act it out. I just told them what I wanted to do. They followed it out. I'm not going to lie. They followed it to a T. Like, every single thing I said is in there. They are very, very good.
This video obviously drew some big reaction from around the internet. Clay Matthews even got involved. There was a couple AJ Hawk chants started by numerous blue checkers. And also, AJ actually tweeted it.
Wow.
AJ very rarely decides to influence and be an influencer on the internet and participate. He actually tweeted about this at Rona Rose. You know, so you got to do what you got to do, and that's next Wednesday work. So we're all very pumped about it, and this has been truly a blast to celebrate it every single step of the way.
It really has been.
Yeah,
really
dream come
good
true.
Time, yeah.
The action isn't just on the internet or in WWE 2K. The action is around training camp. I don't know. Have you seen the Houston Texans defense, AJ Hawk?
Hey, they're trying to set the tone early, it looks like, huh?
There's a Javi Heat or Javi Heat video that was posted where basically this defense is headhunt. Now, you can go full screen on this because boom. That's Houston Texans defense playing Houston Texans offense. Side shot on Dalton Schultz right there. Little blind side with a follow-up of a fight. Shoulder through tackle, double team right there. Little shove late flex, stare over top of. You're a bitch, Tank Dell, is what they're saying here. You think this video is going to end? It doesn't. It just still got 33 more seconds of people just getting absolutely handled in training camp. Good on good. Our team versus our team. Now, training camp, especially in Houston, is going to be hot as shit. And there's always going to be a little bit of some scrums and some high emotion. But when defenses are doing that, boom, in practice, whenever it's go on go, especially this early in training camp, it's setting a tone. It's about to be a long damn year, seemingly, for this entire AFC South. I know the defense was good last year, but I think the offense is the thing that's been chatted about down there in Houston so much. CJ Stroud, obviously the addition of Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Nico Collins is there. You saw Tank Dell. Schultz is on the team for another year with CJ Stroud development. Slowick's there. Is this the defense saying, like, hey, we run this team? Or what did you take from that entire video and what you're hearing out of Houston, AJ?
Well, I mean, you heard Pac say it during the video. It said Matt Burke, who's their defensive coordinator, and Pac-Man and I were both lucky enough to play under that guy. So he is a tough, gritty dude. It's just like the defense kind of taking on the MO of your coordinator and your coaching staff with D'Amico as well. I don't know. I mean, it's cool to see early. How does this all play out? You know, what happens? Like, now is the offense going to come back and be extra chippy? But D'Amico's going to have to sit him down and say, hey, we can't do this anymore.
But D'Amico's on defensive side. Everybody knows that. So it's like if you're on the offensive side, and this is just as somebody who has been very lucky to experience Hard Knocks training camp, but actually with no cameras, just in there. Punter. I am in training camp. Am I doing anything? Not really. I mean, I'm here, good for vibes, cheering people on. We need to punt some balls every once in a while. I need to hold some balls every once in a while. I need to get better at my own craft. But there's a lot more time in the world and in a day than just to do that. So you're like seeing it. the amount of animosity that could come from that type of tone coming on the first day of full pads, that could carry throughout all of training camp. I mean, this could be Fight City down there, and I'm surprised it hadn't gotten worse. I'm surprised we haven't seen more wild videos whenever it comes to that.
It's definitely going to be the first week. Matt Burke always been like that. He had Vontez Burfict. And like our first 2 weeks of camp was camp of hell. And it was like every day we own him. Like, and it get to a point where a coach would be like, all right, now we got to take the pads off. That's when you be like, all right, we done did our job. So eventually he going to be like, all right, we going to take these pads off. Because if he don't take the pads off, we're going to go 100 miles per hour for the first 2 weeks.
Man, that's what everybody's looking for, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's what everybody's looking for. I'm watching that just thinking about the amount of fights and frustration that are going to be in the locker room, following that entire thing. Immediately, that's my first thought, like, oh, God. Think about the offensive linemen now who are supposed to fight. Like, the offensive linemen now, It's like hockey. Like if when Remke is out there and he's about to fight somebody and their goon's supposed to show up and fight, it's like if the offense is getting bullied, the offensive line are the ones that are supposed to fight. And you can hear all of the offensive linemen through that video go, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Just tired, exhausted, doing this. But now they have to, go fight. It's an interesting and I love it for the good of their team. It sucks as a Colts fan that this is what's happening in Houston on the defensive side. Just read off everything that's happening on the offensive side of the ball. But now with D'Amico down there in charge, we should have known this was inevitable. Their defense looks like day one. I mean, they're
Passion.
already. What is the deal?
They probably feel disrespected. They probably feel a little disrespected. The offense and CJ get so much attention, even though they seem to all be on the same page. But yeah, they're like, hey, it's about time they start talking about us.
Yeah, and that's definitely the conversation in the defensive room. But I mean, even when you see Dalton Schultz after he gets shoved, Dalton Schultz is like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah.
He doesn't really respond. He's not the one diving back in because you mentioned the offensive line was, but it did feel like the Texans' offense at some point was like, okay, I guess this.
I mean, those are hot tackles.
Yeah,
bro, they're headhunting. They were headhunting. It's like that's your own team, and I guess we have enough time for people to recover from any of these injuries. But the amount of times you hear people say, "Stay up, stay up, stay up," and then you watch this video, it's like, nah, they're trying to, they're trying to take everybody down. Like they are, and that was talked about by Burke in the defense, and if it was talked about by him, you'd assume D'Amico had to be on board as well because. You got a lot of money out there that's getting hit in the first day of training camp, full pads, and that's setting the tone. Once again, can't stress this enough. Hate that the Texans are in the AFC South.
Yeah, sure. Tough.
Hate everything about what's going on right now, but everything you see out of them, it's like, damn, that's what. That the teams that normally go, like the Kansas City Chiefs already had a fight. Harlaftis hit Tony. Tony threw a ball. Travis Kelce even got in at this. I mean, it's like those teams that are good, you're going to see energy. Now, how can you keep it guided? Also, some action happening over there in the great state of New Jersey. Ooh. Aaron Rodgers dealing the first couple of days on the field. Here's a deep ball to Garrett Wilson. Right on time, right on schedule. Great pocket, too, from that offensive line. And obviously, he throws wasn't a looper, but a dart, seemingly, 45 yards down the sideline. Everything coming out of camp is that Aaron is feeling and playing his absolute best. Saw him spin a helmet while he walked onto a field, super casual, obviously no nerves at all. And then he would flip the helmet, catch it by its face mask, clean, here it is, boom, so casual. Yeah, it looks like the guy's nervous, doesn't have it figured out. A little anxiety. Does that and then flips it. Let me go ahead and catch that. Bang. And then this kid to the left here, as he waves to the crowd, thanks for coming out. Good to see you. Go Jets. Let's fly high. Jets, Jets. Hell yeah. Look at it. Full handshake with this kid. Choreographed handshake.
That might be one of Salah's kids.
Okay, well,
I'm not for sure, but I know he has handshakes with all those guys.
Okay, well, that's good news. And I wonder if at the end of that he goes, give me my fine money back from your dad. Yeah. Joining us is a man who would probably pay for the fine if it meant a Super Bowl or success would come to the New York Jets. He at one time said he would cut off his penis so that this Aaron Rodgers experiment would work with the New York Jets. Also offered up multiple penthouses that he owns around the city of New York, because this guy is in every broadcasting hall of fame that they have created. Decades and decades of success in creating the sports media world. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Greenberg.
Yay!
I was literally just watching that video before you called me, feeling extremely excited. And as soon as we hang up here, I have to get on the phone with my travel agent to make my travel plans for Egypt. because I'm told that's the best place to go right now. The summer is over. The season has begun. Rodgers is back. He's been healthy since December, and we are ready to go.
Okay, I heard you say this morning there's no more vice president potential. There's no more trips to Egypt.
Well, so here's my one concern, McAfee. You need to talk to him. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, vice president became an option again. We almost had that one. We
I don't think that party's going to pick Aaron.
Probably not. Seems unlikely. So that's one last hurdle we have to jump. But assuming we get past that one, then now he should just be full go football, and I am as ready for it as a person can possibly be.
Okay, I talked about the things that you were saying last year as we were going into this Aaron Rodgers New York Jets experience. He can have a penthouse. I'll cut off my penis. I don't need to do anything. I can go blind. Yep. You
swear on air.
You'll swear on air.
I may have intimated that I would. I don't know that I actually said that one, but okay. Let's, for the sake of this discussion, let's say I would go an awful long way to see the Jets finally win a Super Bowl.
Okay, perfect, good. So you just confirmed it. Sources close to the situation confirmed that he would cut off his situation to get the situation for the Jets to be one where there's a Lombardi involved. But whenever we talk about where you were last year versus where you are this year, and it was very evident throughout the year, seemingly Jets and Jets fans were just being forced to, hey, we're punting this year. We're going to try to rebottle what we had going into this year and do it again next year. Is that how you feel? Because I think that's how Aaron's mindset is like, hey, everything was supposed to be last year, it's going to be this year. Is that how you feel? And how do you feel about the expectations? Connor, who's a Patriots fan, picked the Jets to win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
That's.
Oh, Connor, you are singing my song. Look, the Jets offseason began on the fifth play from scrimmage last year. That's the reality of the situation. Any expectation, any reasonable expectation of success last year went down with Aaron. And that's not a knock to most of the teams of the NFL, that you're built or quarterback. The Jets completely built their team around Aaron last year, and he got unbelievably unlucky. It happens. Now the time has come for where the offseason can finally or can end and the new season can begin. And I think, if anything, the expectations are higher. The real question, and I think this is legit, and AJ, I don't know if you would chime in on this or anybody, he is 40 years old and he is coming off a serious injury. I mean, that is a real thing. But assuming, as I agree with you, he's flipping the helmet, he looks good. I know he says he feels great. He worked like crazy to come back. Assuming that he is 80% of what he was at his apex. I mean, the Jets are a much better roster than they were at this time last year. They had they would have had a bad offensive line last year, even if Rodgers had been their quarterback. He could have covered up some of it. He couldn't have covered up all of it. The addition of not only on the offensive line, but of Mike Williams at wide receiver, of Devontae Adams, who I already consider a Jet. By the way, I already consider Devontae Adams a Jet. As far as I'm concerned, we already have him. The addition of Hassan Reddick.
He's not a Jet. I mean, you got two. You just said two guys that are not in the building.
Listen. Anything you want to wager, I will wager that Devontae Adams is a Jet by Halloween and Hassan Reddick starts the season week 1 in San Francisco.
You say fuck on Get Up and I'll wear a suit for an entire day.
I can't give you that one because
what are we doing? What are we doing?
Say yes.
I can't get away with all the stuff you can get away with.
Yes, you can. That's what you
Greeny.
What color are the bottoms of your shoes, Greeny? I think you can.
Yeah, you got those red bottoms walking into every single set that you got. You can do whatever the hell you want. What are they gonna do? Take you out of the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, we got him working here today.
Getting dirty?
Is it a day of the week that ends in Y?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we get it, obviously, Greeny. That's the deal, though. I think that should be the deal.
No, that's not the deal. We'll make a different deal. But Devontae,
he said, "I'll bet anything." You know what he said?
I mean, him wearing a tank top for an entire.
Tank top.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll do. I will dress as McAfee for an entire show. Okay. In fact, I'd love to have some of your guys come up and do the show, and we'll just do it in McAfee style.
Okay, an invasion. Okay, so we will invade, but you will have to host it, though, still. Like, you will still have to do it.
Got to be NWO-style invasion, too.
Yeah, yes,
flip
absolutely.
the tables.
Okay, good. So that's, and then what, if it does happen, like...
And Reddick. Reddick will be there. Reddick will be there. The Jets are going to have.
Sweet.
What makes you so
arguably-
confident in that, Greeny?
Because both sides need each other. Like there's a theorem called Occam's razor, which is that the most likely explanation for anything is usually the explanation. Hassan Reddick needs to get paid, and the New York Jets need him. It will be so humiliating for the Jets to have traded for a player that everyone knew was holding out because he needed a new contract, and then not get him into camp. This won't last long. They have to get him in. Look, the Jets are more all in on one season than I think any team I can ever think of has ever been in any sport. So the idea that they will let any future consideration, whatever it might do to a salary cap at any other point or any other consideration, detract from their chances this year would make no sense. It would be inconsistent with everything they've done. Reddick will be there. I don't know how soon, but before the season starts. And I really do believe that unless the Raiders stun the world and start winning games early in the season, that Rodgers and the Jets start well, which I believe we will, that I believe it just makes sense, guys. It just makes sense for Devontae Adams to come to the Jets.
Yeah, if you're a Jets fan, it certainly makes sense.
Of course.
It certainly makes sense for that to take place. Devontae
It makes sense to Aaron. It makes sense to Adams. I think it makes sense to. It might make sense for the Raiders, start just get some draft picks, whatever it is. I think it would make – there's just too many reasons why I think it should happen. The Jets should be as aggressive as any team in trying to make that move because there's nowhere that Adams could step right into in the middle of the season and make a bigger impact than he could for the Jets with Rodgers.
Okay, well, hopefully that comes to fruition because none of us want to travel to New York. Because if it doesn't happen, then we got to go. Then we got to go to New York, and we get an opportunity to work alongside you. Obviously, expectations are when
you guys come to New York. Stace and I are down to take all of you out for dinner. She loves you. So you guys come. Anybody who wants to come, you come. You come. Bring the show.
You're buying us all shoes.
A little dinner.
You're buying us all
if
shoes.
You want some shoes? We can throw some. If we can get a shoe deal involved in this, we'll work it out one way or another.
Okay, all right.
Make it happen.
I hope Devontae. Hey, good luck out there, Devontae.
Yeah,
now, Devontae told Max Crosby, twin flame. They feel like they're same spirits, and they're there to build the Raiders. Like that is how they feel. So if he was to get traded, that would obviously be a massive message from Tom Telesco, the new general manager for the Raiders going forward, especially with everything they have cooking and everything we saw in receiver last year. That I think helps spur all of these conversations that are taking place. Connor's got a question for you, Greeny.
Yeah, Greeny, the other team in that dump, the Giants, are on the Hard Knocks this offseason. It's kind of the first time they've done this entire thing with just the front office and Dayball going through all the draft process. What are the vibes out of New York City around this? Are the headlines on the newspapers talking about them being smart? Is it more so talking about them looking like doofuses? What are they saying in New York City about the Giants right now?
I think generally vibes are fairly low. I think the Giants are definitively the fourth best team in a four-team division. I think Washington is going to surprise a lot of people. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be the rookie of the year. Ooh. I think he's going to play really well. I think that there's a real chance that they go out and trade for Brandon Ayuk. I think Daniels would love it. I think Ayuk would love it. I think it makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways. I think the Commanders could be a fringe playoff team this year. The Cowboys, I think, will take a step back because they just will. They haven't gotten any better and probably gotten a little worse. I think the Eagles are going to be much better. So I think no matter what happens, the Giants are the worst team in their division. I think they will start all over again next year with a new quarterback. And the question is, will it be with a new coach? Maybe the one who will be on your show all football season long.
Oh, you're talking about old Bill Belichick.
Worse than the commies?
What? Jeez, Jaden Daniels said rookie
Just
of the year.
again? Come on.
Yeah, that's a Giants fan right there. And he's the only one we get to read whenever things around the Giants happen. So I think that's why Connor asked you what the gauge is around there. Because the access that we're getting from this Hard Knocks is absurd. It is. I would not want the Colts to do that. I would not want the Colts to do that show ever. But I love that they're doing the show, Greeny. It's kind of like a double-edged sword in this entire thing.
Look, I mean, every year someone has to do it. Last year it was the Jets. And it was... And I loved it. I loved seeing all the insight and all that kind of stuff. That said, I'm so much happier with my team flying as far under the radar as possible in the preseason. So, yes, I agree. You don't want your team getting involved.
Let's talk about under the radar and your team. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Greeny. So recently Rodgers basically said, hey, all the stuff between me and Saleh has kind of been overblown. At this point, I'm here. Nothing but positivity and good vibes between us. Do you buy that, considering Saleh is the one who kind of made this whole thing a bigger deal than it needed to be? And ultimately, does it even matter? Because if they don't perform well and they start slow, obviously the cracks are going to start to show. But if they do play as well as you think they're going to, like, these guys can hate each other and still coexist, right? Do you think it's a big deal or no?
I don't like the way it went. Did you guys see how Mike Tomlin handled the question yesterday about how he's going to handle the practice reps for his two quarterbacks? That was like a TED Talk. That was like a master class in shutting down something that could be something and instead making it nothing. Robert Saleh does the opposite of that all the time. When Aaron said yesterday this was more outside the building than inside, it was more media creation, that really isn't true. It was Robert Saleh who made this something. Now, what is the relationship between the two of them? I don't know. I have no idea. Aaron Rodgers is infinitely more important to the success of that team and this season than Robert Saleh is. Aaron Rodgers basically is going to be in charge of the offense. Saleh, I guess, will be in charge of the defense and occasionally deciding whether or not to go for two. But I would let Aaron make those decisions anyway. I have infinitely more confidence in him than I have in Saleh. I don't have a real good sense of what their relationship is. I think Aaron, look, you guys know Aaron way better than I do. I have a hard time picturing that even he, who's willing to speak his mind more than almost anyone, would say, yeah, I'm really pissed off at Saleh for turning this into a thing. And he and I are kind of on the outs right now. So I don't know what their relationship is, but I'll fall back on the last thing you said, which is it probably doesn't matter. If they win, then it won't make any difference. And if they lose, everyone, starting with the coach, is going to be out of there anyway.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that they're all aligned. Like, hey, if we don't win, we're all fired.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody feels that. Fans feel that way. Media feels that way. Feels like every coach knows that as they're walking in. All right, let's make this not our last training camp here. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. That's some good motivation, especially for a 40-year-old quarterback coming back from injury. And you brought that up earlier. I don't think that's anything. With what AJ says, he's in, like, phenomenal shape, like just absolutely. And with the way science is right now and everything he was doing, sometimes those rehab and recoveries can make you in the best shape of your life because you're working on everything every day. You're forced to work every single day, maybe when you wouldn't do it. So I'm very excited to watch it. Early reports out of camp, Greeny. Hey, we're spinning it. We're dialing it up. Every time you see one of those videos, you got to just that thing wakes up. That thing wakes up.
Oh, yeah. He'll be able to do that when he's 70, right? I mean, there was some Vinny Testaverde could still do that, right? But he's got the kind of arm that, that's just a God-given gift. He needs to. We need to see him get hit. Like Brian Clark said it well, I thought, on Get Up on Monday. He said the Jets need to treat Aaron Rodgers like he's a lit candle and we have no more matches. Like, we must not allow anyone to breathe near him. We cannot have him touched. We need him safe. We need him in bubble wrap. And assuming that he stays healthy, I think there's every reason to think that the Jets are going to have a real shot. He said it right. There are like 8 teams that have a shot at this thing, and the Jets are one of them.
Aaron's going to want to take a hit, though.
Football guy.
Yeah, he's an old school football guy. That's get lost in the entire thing. We're undoing the chin strap every single time. We're fighting for extra yards when we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're already in the Hall of Fame, buddy. We are A-okay. He just has to prove to himself they still got it or whatever. It's like, I'm excited to see those.
Look, let's give him credit for this, too. I don't mean to interrupt, but I was thinking about this the other day. A lot of people have rightfully given Russell Wilson a lot of credit, saying he could have gotten paid $39 million just to not play at all. He's showing that he loves football by coming back. And I agree with that. I think that there is validity to that. I think the same thing can be said of Rodgers. I'm not counting his money, but he's got to have $300 million. He is 39 years
Way
old
more.
And suffered the
business. You got to think he's got a brain. Business. He's very wealthy.
So whatever. He has infinitely more money than he's going to need for the rest of his life. He suffered the kind of injury that can end a career that you have to work yourself to death the way you just described to come back from. You have to want it that badly. I think he has demonstrated through this just how much it means to him. People can say about him whatever they want. He says a lot of things that makes people mad. That's fine. That's their business. It's not mine. But what I'm saying is he has demonstrated through this process how much this means to him. And I think that is important because I think sometimes that gets lost in the midst of all of the craziness that comes with a person who is as outspoken as he is, especially in a place like New York. What gets lost in all of this is he has demonstrated by coming back when he did not have to a franchise that he owed nothing. By fighting his way back like this, I think he has demonstrated how much this means to him, and I think that also bodes really well.
Yeah, and to kind of add on, I think takes a fine, loses money, and it's like, whatever. All right, we will move on for the whole story of it, and that's because could you imagine if this 40-year-old comes off an Achilles, four-time MVP winner, goes to a team that hasn't won in a long time, wins, brings an entire title back to a city of fans that have been looking for it for a while. That story is one that I think Aaron is like, that would be sweet for the good of football.
Yeah.
For the good of football, it would be.
I can't think of a better way for him to write the final chapter of his career. John Elway was the first Hall of Fame quarterback ever to win the Super Bowl in his final game, and Rodgers would have the opportunity to do the same thing. And I also think Aaron Rodgers' legend, wrong. His place in history is cemented to the extent that if he never played another snap, he's one of the greatest players that ever lived. There's no question.
First ballot, got it.
So his legacy is, first ballot doesn't even tell the story. He's in like the little room. Like there are different rooms in the Hall of Fame. He's in the little room with the really special ones. That said, I do think that his legacy can be enhanced. It can't be diminished. He's accomplished too much for it to be diminished. If he has a terrible season and the Jets lose, he remains one of the greatest players of all time. But if he should do what you just described, then I think his legacy can be significantly enhanced. That's our job, right? That's what people like us do. We tell those stories. We put these things into perspective. And I think it is reasonable to say that Rodgers, look, count on your fingers the numbers of quarterbacks who have won Super Bowls with two different franchises, okay? You're not going to get very far. So he would have an opportunity to add his name to that list. It's Brady and Manning. He would have his opportunity to add his name to that list. He would have an opportunity to lift, as you just said, the Jets, who have not won in half a century. The Jets last won the Super Bowl. I was 1 year old, McAfee. Jeez. Look how old I am.
No, you're young, Brady. You're young. You lotion. You look great.
That's money don't crack. But I'm telling you right now, I'm old. I'm old, and I was one the last time this team played in the Super Bowl. So I think that there is that at stake for Rodgers here. I think his legacy can be enhanced significantly, and he strikes me as a guy, and you know him way better than I do. I think he strikes me as a guy who will act like that doesn't matter to him, but I think it does matter to him down deep inside. I don't know why it wouldn't matter to anyone.
No, he loves football. He loves football, loves the history of football. Like, he is big football guy, like loves the sport, loves the game. So he understands what's on the line for a franchise that hasn't had in half a century since Mike Greenberg's been 1 year old. That's like 27 years ago.
Yeah.
27 years ago. That's phenomenal.
I only wish.
Grinny, and you talked about something, and Moz did on your show the other day as well, about how many interviews and how outspoken he is and everything like that. He didn't talk for like 14 years, and people buried him for a long time. There's a lot of narratives built about Aaron, and he never responded. I'm going to kill him with indifference or something, is what he said. I'm going to kill him with indifference, just never respond to anything. So then once he finally started answering things and answering stuff about him, obviously it went against a lot of the narratives that were potentially built about him for over a decade and a half, and then that becomes like a big thing. So I will say outspoken, certainly now. Wasn't like that for Aaron for a long time. He just sat and took it on the shins by a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life for a long time about shit that I think he views not real or true. So, like, you know, I get it, he didn't get vaccinated, but also, like, he is also a human who didn't talk for 14 years or so about a lot of. So I appreciate where he's at. He's very comfortable, which also I think leads to him being an even better quarterback. Like, he's the most comfortable he's ever been being himself. It's like, I think that's good news, not bad news the other way around.
Look, I mean, he has chosen to inject himself into conversations that are going to make people mad, right? These are controversial subjects. I've made an entire career out of not doing that, right? I've been at ESPN 28 years by doing the exact opposite of that. Your life is a lot easier when you don't do stuff like that. Aaron has chosen, and it's up to him to do it. Look, I mean, I don't have all the same agita in my life that guys like him do, and that's a conscious choice because I just couldn't handle it. Like I could not handle that kind of stress.
Amen.
He can, and he's willing to do it. He believes in the stuff he believes in. I don't share all of his beliefs, but that's what makes the world go round. He's allowed to think what he wants to think. Some people are going to be mad about it. Let them be mad. It's going to be what it's going to be. At the end of the day, he's the quarterback of a football team, and that's my concern.
Almost a vice president.
Almost.
So close. Yeah. Still can't rule it out forever.
Yes, you're right. You can't. We have no idea. Win a Super Bowl this year. Maybe he wants to come back. Yeah. Maybe he plays 4 more years. 4 more years.
He just can't stop.
Last question here, away from the NFL and the gridiron, about something else that's about to take over all of the sports landscape. Pac-Man's got a question for you, Greeny.
Greeny, the USA team, we won by 2 the other day. You got Abib talking about LeBron is not the same LeBron. LeBron played really good the other night, if you ask me. Can we compare this team to the 92 Dream Team, or should we be worried about losing to...
No. Don't say we lost to Lithuania already. We don't in the international
We're not
World
losing
Cup.
to South Sudan.
Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need that right now, Pac. Jeez. Greeny's
So the difference between... I was there for 92. The difference between 92 and this team is not us. It's the rest of the world. The 1992 Dream Team is the most important team in the history of sports. And the reason it is because it inspired people all over the world to play basketball who otherwise never would have. And as a result of that, so many of these other countries can now legitimately compete with the very best American team. We are the best team, and we should win, but the best team doesn't always win. That team wouldn't have lost under any circumstances because there was no country that could have even remotely competed with us. The only game that the American college kids ever lost, they were royally screwed in 1972 in a game against the Soviet Union that if you don't know the history of
these motherfuckers, Greeny, they've been doing it for so long, I'm sick of it.
Classic commie.
I'm sick of it.
Okay, and not exactly the way I would have phrased it, but probably appropriate. Anyway, the point is, the difference between 92 and now is that these other countries can compete. So, I mean, France has a bunch of really good NBA players. Spain has a bunch of really good NBA players. We're playing NBA. Canada has a bunch of really good NBA players. They're playing against other NBA players. In 92, they were playing against guys who grew up, who just loved. I mean, there's the famous game where the guy on the court asked Michael Jordan if he could take a picture with him while the game was being played. That's not who we're playing against now. I mean, when we play against Canada, we're playing Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. When we play against France, we're playing against Wembanyama and Rudy Gobert and real players.
Gobert
so
sucks.
That's the difference.
Do you remember what Gobert did?
Yeah.
He's potentially the
COVID.
Let's never forget that. Let's never forget that as we're watching this Olympics. I hope this American team does great. What was the number? There's like 6 NBA guys, and now there's like
81 or something.
Yeah, there's 9 NBA players in the 92 Olympics that played for other teams, and now there's 61 pretty much. So it's a little bit different world. A little bit different world to Greeny's point
You're
there.
welcome.
And it's the Dream Team's fault why we might not win this Olympics, I guess. I never framed it like that until you decided to do so.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, dude.
I thought.
Larry Bird smoking your cigs, laying on the side. Hope you're happy. That related really well with all the Europeans. Like, you smoke cigs and play this game?
That's all.
Oh, let's do it.
That's why Joker's out there right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez Louise. We can't be losing to Lithuania in the World Cup in basketball going into this thing.
I don't even think they made it.
No, they didn't. That's what I'm saying. But we lost them in the last international tournament. We did.
Yeah, but we didn't have Bron and KD. Our best player was Tyrese, and Tyrese can't even get on the floor.
Excuse me. Tyrese is friend of our program.
I want him to play.
This is Tyrese's jersey right here, hand delivered.
I want him to play. I'm just saying, based on what Austin Rivers said, he's not even sniffing the court.
No, he's a glue guy.
Put him in and take Embiid out.
Okay, sounds like because of what Embiid said. Yeah, Pac-Man has certain biases against him.
France is also telling Embiid, give us back your passport.
Yeah, Embiid taking shots at everybody he's playing on the Olympics team. That is an interesting take, too.
Anyways, Greeny, thanks for starting all of this. We really appreciate it. And now you go live your incredible life with your red bottoms on.
All right, you guys come to New York. We want to host you. Come anytime.
Are you sure?
Devontae, right? It's the Devontae thing.
Yeah.
If Devontae goes to New York, we'll go to New York.
That's exactly right. You come, you do the show. We'll have a little fun. It'll be fantastic. And Devontae Adams will be a Jet, which will be the best part of all.
And shoe deal. Remember, you guys are buying shoes for the whole team.
Yep, red bottom.
Remember the shoes?
We'll negotiate the shoes.
Whoa.
No, we all got to wear the same shoes. That's part of the thing. That's part of the thing.
Team.
Yeah,
We're
we
team.
are too. AJ needs some too. He's 13 and 14 too. I like the
I'm not sure they make them
12.
in that size.
12 as well. I got a wide foot though. I can't be getting
Me
my
too.
bunions
Fat.
up on you. Yeah.
Make it happen.
Anyways, Devontae, if it happens, we'll appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, multi-time Hall of Famer, absolute stallion, host of Get Up. You're watching Get Up in the Morning with Michael Greenberg.
Yay!
Legend.
Yeah.
The man.
They're all in. Jets fans.
Yeah, look out.
He's optimistic, huh? Like he's not even cautious anymore. I feel like he's thinking, "Now here we go." Yeah.
I love the way he described Aaron. He interjects himself into conversations that are going to make people mad. And like, as he was saying, I was like, "Yep, that's a good way to describe that entire thing." And he said, "I have tried to not do that because my life is a lot better." It's like, brother, you are not lying. I think we are kind of going through that right now. But Aaron does feel as of late that he's going to speak his mind. He wants other people to hear that there's potentially a different perspective from somebody who's been very, very successful with their line of work and in the public eye, been able to handle it. But if Aaron plays well, which it seems like he's going to, with this defense, with the weapons, especially with how short Greeny is of Devontae Adams coming in, that's a pretty big voice in sports media with a lot of context.
Yeah, it's like it's a done deal. Like he basically said that.
He said Hassan Reddick's on the team. Devontae Adams is on our team now, and it's just like, no, he is not. He's on a different team.
Yeah.
he is very and he's a very high profile signing they made within the last few years. If he was just to get traded, that'd be a massive ordeal. Even though we've all talked about it because him and Aaron being good at football together.
And same deal. Like he now, after all these receivers have been getting new deals, like he wants more money. Like I don't know if the Jets. I mean, I guess they could potentially trade for him just for the end of this year, but like. He's not. He's made it clear. Like, hey, listen, I deserve to be compensated for what I've done. Like the Jets, they just can't afford to just pay everybody because it's like the one last go around. Like I don't know. I mean, they already have Hassan Reddick, who they traded for him knowing he wanted a new deal. He's holding out because who knows if they're going to be able to meet on those financials. Like it just
Devontae's the guy.
Yeah, hell yeah, it's the guy. And they played pretty decent the last couple weeks of the season. Let's not forget that the Raiders played pretty decent
with
at
AP
the end
and
of the
coach.
season. Yeah. Of course, they need a couple pieces, but like, I don't see that. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, if you're Tom Telesco, you come in there and you just trade away Devontae. You're
right. What are you saying?
You're making a statement there. Yeah, that's a pretty big statement. Now, are you selling it alongside of like we saved the money, we got some pieces back for this, we're able to build, we're still because they just paid Christian Wilkins too. So like, they go in on Christian Wilkins, but then they're out on Devontae. That would be mixed signals coming from the Raiders who are in a new city. So it's that'd be very fascinating if they did that.
Yeah, based on receiver, it's like, hey, Devontae, if things aren't going well, it's not like Devontae's just going to sit there and ride out the entire season if they're just going down the tubes. Like if things don't go well on offense and the Aiden O'Connell and the Gardner Minshew's don't really figure it out with Devontae, he's not afraid to voice his opinion like, hey, get me the hell out of here. Like he legitimately was talking about that to the Netflix crew as last season and Jimmy G was developing.
But him and Matt, they are the definition of the Raiders right now. If you take away one of those two, you have no identity.
Max Crosby. Yeah, agreed. Those two are taking the ownership of it too. It seems like publicly, which is a interesting because what we did see in receiver. But I think once they fire, they move on, new culture. It's like, hey, this is Devontae, Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins fits in perfectly. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who fits into any culture perfectly, and he will be now in the fabric of football forever. As he should be, going into the NFL Hall of Fame next weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, Colts Ring of Honor member, College Football Hall of Famer, a 7-time Pro Bowler, an absolute stud. Ladies and gentlemen, Dwight Freeney.
What's up, Pat? What's happening?
Hey, how are you feeling, man? We're getting very close to the big day. The gold jacket's about to be wrapped around those massive traps and shoulders. How do we feel? You excited, or what are the thoughts right now?
Man, I got a lot of anxiety. You know what it is it's kind of like you really want this moment to be perfect, right? And you've been thinking about it, but it's like planning a big wedding. You got all your friends, your family. You have to tell your wife, no, not that guy. Yes, him. Yes, please call him back. Make sure he's in. You have so much going on outside of that moment, right? And then when you finally get all of that to bed, then you can focus on the moment. So I can't wait until I get to the moment where I can focus on it because it hadn't happened yet.
Well, I would like to let you know I appreciate being a part of the yes, that guy, not no, the other guy, because I actually talked to your wife via email. She has been a rock star through this, I think, from the emails that I've seen, representing, the night and the evening from your people. It's going to be great. We got Jim Irsay, right, is doing the he's a part of the induction. He's going to be there?
Absolutely. I got to have Jim. It all started with Jim. He is the horseshoe. It means a lot to him. It means a lot to me.
Are you getting are you getting a ghost? I think that's what right? Edge.
Oh yeah.
Edge got a ghost out of this. I think a Rolls Royce.
I don't know. We got to figure that part out. I might need your help.
Okay, Freeney, let's talk about your game and why you are making it into the Hall of Fame. Now, it has been said that Bill Belichick actually developed the chip block because he was sick and tired of what you were able to do to their tackle, because you were considered undersized for a little bit, but what you had in a lack of height, you were powerful, fast, and cerebral. I think that is do you think the modern pass rusher is kind of more similar to how you played? Do you think you were ahead of your time? How would you describe what you did versus what's going on right now, Freeney?
Well, you know what? This is what I've always said. Why do I need to be 6'5"? All right. I'm not grabbing rebounds and blocking shots out there. All right. My thing is I have natural leverage. All right. I'm already underneath you. All right. And if I'm tipping passes and all of that stuff, that's not good for me. All right. That means that I'm not getting to the quarterback. All right. So I don't want to have any tip passes. I want to be able to hit the quarterback, be on top of the quarterback every play. Now, what's happening now is I do see a trend of smaller, quote unquote, smaller, undersized defensive end and guys at that position being drafted higher. All right. So prior to me, Pat, those guys would be called tweeners or just third down specialists or guys who would just be, maybe an outside linebacker that just happens to play, defensive end, on third down. But for me, I've played every single down. And I just wanted to show the world, look, and this is how you play ball, and it doesn't matter how tall you are. That has nothing to do with it, how big you are. It's about how you produce and what you do on that field.
We just saw some highlights of the bull rush and the spin move, and the one against the Saints, that's in the Super Bowl. He had like a broken ankle, if you do recall, in that particular play. It was a big deal that you even played the game, let alone ran over the tackle and got a sack in the Super Bowl. It was like you've talked about this before. I don't recall if it's been on the show or if it's just in conversations we've had. Everything is a setup. It's a chess game, and that's why you were able to have so many different moves, because they didn't know if a bull rush was coming. They didn't know if a spin move was coming. They didn't know if that ice pick was about to hit this thing or if you're going to go low and outside. I don't think that gets talked about a lot with guys that are rushing a quarterback, is there's a full game plan. There's a strategy. We got to execute it, right? And are more people doing that these days?
Well, you know what? I'm seeing a little bit of that. Myles Garrett does a little bit of that. Max Crosby does a little bit of that. TJ does a little bit of that. You have to have a game plan. You go into the game, with a whole bunch of moves that you want to use. Hopefully you have enough moves. Hopefully you've been doing what you need to do in the practice field in the years prior to where you can have a plethora of moves that you can bring out when you need it. Every offensive tackle isn't the same. They all don't punch the same. Some of them engulf you with arms out here. Some guys like to hit you two hands. Some guys like to use one hand. So you have to have different moves. You're
just cooking these dudes on the screen right now, Freeney. These highlights, I don't know how long this highlight reel's going, but you're just murdered, dead. But that guy thought there's a chance a bull rush is coming. So you see him bringing the hand.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got to set it up.
Sorry, Dahn.
Pat, you got to set it up. You know what I'm talking about? You can't just do it. Sometimes you got to give him like a pitcher. Think of a pitcher on the mound. If all he threw was fastballs, those guys get paid on the other side. He's going to sit back on the fastball and take you deep. No different than a pass rusher. You got to go out, give him some things. Give him a fastball. Give him a changeup. Give him a bull rush. Give him an outside speed. Give him a club rip inside. Give him different things. You're probing as you're going, trying to see how he's going to protect against you. And then once you realize, okay, this is what he's doing, then it's a feast. Then do what you want to do.
Then fourth quarter, third down, Okay, 3rd and 7. Here we go. This is the game pretty much. Or 4th down, 4th and 6. This is the game pretty much. Every single time. That first, I had a chance to be on a team with Freeney and Mathis at the same time for like 4 years, okay? And it was, if there was a moment at the end of the game, there's no question. This wasn't like you know how they give the ball to Patrick Mahomes at the end of the game? What's going to happen? If he needs a he's going to walk down the field. Yeah. You get the ball to Tom Brady, what's going to happen? He's going to walk right down the field and score. End of the game, if quarterback has to get sacked and it's a game winner, it was you or Mathis were going to make it happen. You did that for so long. That's why I'm incredibly happy that you're getting your flowers at the Hall of Fame, man. It was a sight to see because Peyton was obviously the conversation with the Colts. Peyton was the Colts. The entire offense, obviously, incredible people, which obviously we're all friends with, and they're all coming to celebrate you next weekend. But it's like on the defensive side, the entire strategy of the team was Peyton in the offense gets the lead, and then Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis, who was a special teamer, wasn't supposed to be who he was. Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney are going to end the game, basically, for the Colts. And that's the winningest decade in NFL history to a Super Bowl in a nutshell. Did you know? You knew that, right? And that's how the team was being built whenever you were in it?
Well, when you're in the moment, you don't really think about all of that, right? But when you leave and you talk to some of the guys, Bill Poley and those in Coach Dungy, and how they decided to construct that team, you know, we complimented each other, all right? And Peyton, they put up the points. Now, you got to throw the ball. Now, what are you going to do? Okay? Yeah, you could run the ball. Sure, run the ball. I mean, we can stop the run as well. But it's not about just running the ball. You got to score enough points to win. And you got Peyton, you got Marvin, you got Edgerrin, you got Reggie, you got Dallas, you got a plethora of guys on the other side that's going to put a lot of points up. So you can't just, you got to pick your poison. And, you know, what they ended up doing, like you talked about, coming up with really strange type of protection. And I apologize to all the defensive ends and the outside linebackers today, because there was stuff that was never put in prior to me. And now all of a sudden you got tight ends lining up outside the tackle and motioning guys in to chip block. That's never happened in a game of football. And all of a sudden, now it's here all the time. So I apologize to all you guys. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but at least they get tape on how to handle it. You just getting ear-holed out of nowhere. Like, what the? Is this even legal? I assume there was a bunch of, like, is this even legal conversations at that time? But that just became status quo. We only got a couple minutes left here before a hard out. I want to make sure AJ gets his question. We all have massive respect for you, Free. Massive.
AJ, what's happening, AJ?
What's happening, man? Your spin move, honestly, I'm so intrigued when I watch every single rep of it. Do you remember, like, what level you were at when you hit that in a game and it worked the first time? And also, like, how did you develop it? Did you realize early on, like, hey, this could be something special?
Well, I did it in high school. All right. Now, in high school, first of all, I didn't learn the move from anybody. All right. It kind of actually started on, like, all right, and one mixtapes. I don't know. Some of you guys are old enough to know. So
Hot
maybe not.
sizzle!
Yeah.
No holding. Yeah, the professor really shook some shit, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
No, there you go. So there you go. So those guys made the defensive players look absolutely ridiculous and silly. So that's what I kind of wanted to bring to football. And I was a big N1 mixtape guy. So in high school, I used to do these types of moves, try to make the offensive tackle look as silly as possible. They used to run the ball. So it was a little bit easier to spin on a guy who's trying to, kill you on a run block because he's going to fall on his face. But as you get better at that move and keep doing it when they're passing the ball, you kind of figure it out. So really, to answer your question, it was kind of a development from high school, and it just kept getting better. The more times you do the move, the more comfortable you get. And that's how it happened to me.
Hot sauce was so good.
Oh, my God.
Sauce was good.
So good. He was so good. Then the professor shows up at one of those little practice rounds on a Friday. Wins. Gets on team.
Yeah,
I went to a show in Pittsburgh. I went to one. Boy, much better on TV than in real life.
Really?
But it was good. Yeah. It was a good time. I watched
They cut up the highlights. They cut up the highlights.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'll see you in Canton, man. Congratulations and thanks for the invite. You're representing well.
It's all good, my brother. You take care of yourself. AJ, see you later, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dwight Freeney. Zito just said I should have asked about the guys in the geese that got him to that Super Bowl game. We'll be back next hour. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice.
In an abandoned warehouse, Arthur Isaac Fischel, the world's AI authority, has summoned the Earth's most influential doofuses for an emergency meeting about the terrifying powers of artificial intelligence. Antonio Margherita, influencer from Italy. Vladimir Borobashnakovsky. Chad Speed. Jim. We catch up with them mid-dinner as Artie Fish tries his damnedest to get the influencer's attention.
Yes, that'll work. Thank you. Scram. Let's get down to brass tacks, boys. The real reason we're here. AI is it's a problem. It's going to kill us all.
It's hard to take you serious with the way your face looks right now.
I mean, you look like a fucking asshole. What are you talking about?
Oh, the only thing artificial is those fucking balls you call balls.
You look absolutely absurd.
You guys don't understand. You're not listening to me, okay? I'm wearing this because AI can hear your thoughts. It can get into your brain, guys.
You ain't got no fucking brain.
Once again, struggling to take anything you say serious. My team told me I should come to this. You look like he looks like a joke.
Like an absolute jerk off.
Does this look like a joke? Huh? That's a nuclear bomb.
Nah, that's fake. Just
fucking bad man puts marbles in plastic case.
You need a guma, my friend.
You guys aren't listening. This right here, AI gave to me a nuclear freaking bomb. Told me the only way to save this screwed up world is to blow it up. This guy awake? Idiot.
Wake up, asswipe.
He wouldn't hit somebody with a nuclear
No, yeah, fuck.
No, don't you worry. This one is foolproof.
I doubt it.
I brought it here, boys. Not just for show.
What?
But because I'm gonna blow up the world right now!
Holy shit! That's Jack Carr!
Turns out, that was an actual nuclear bomb. Arthur Isaac Fischel was going to blow the entire world up, and Jack Carr saved us all. It was his actual first shot. And Artie Fish is actually dead. Forever. Thank the Lord that Jack Carr sensed trouble. Hell yeah, Jack Carr. Hell yeah.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
What?
let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers,
You pink.
damn it! Your friend tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Thursday, July 25th, 2024. Hour 2 of the program starts now. We are incredibly lucky to be able to talk about sports every single day of the week. You know what? If this ball goes in, we'll have a show tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right, so we won't get to it tomorrow.
Damn it.
Which I'm incredibly bummed out about. That's AJ Hawk. The Toxic Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. That sucks, doesn't it?
I know. I thought that was
That's
going
not,
in.
That was the universe.
It was. What did it do?
Bruce Brown is here, obviously. Phenomenal stuff. Very close. As it was traveling through the sky. Okay.
Oh, no.
Gotta make two in a row. Gotta make two in a row.
Took your own under.
13 years?
Yeah.
13 years as corner in the NFL. Universal record signed rapper, ladies and gentlemen, Pac-Man Jones.
Hi, baby, Pac.
How is the rapping going?
It's going good, man. I got a song coming out with Dro right before I get the album ready, so I'm excited.
Excited? Pumped? Thankful?
Excited, yes, sir. Very
Young
thankful,
Dro.
man. Young Dro.
Ooh. I mean, You got Dro on a song.
Yep.
Who was
Skilla Baby?
No, who was
Jody Breeze.
Jody Breeze.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah.
We got some good features rolling in
We
this
got
thing.
some good features that's rolling in.
When's album?
We're gonna do it around my birthday, probably September, end of
Ish.
September-ish.
Okay. Hey, let's go,
Here we
Pat.
go, boy.
You enjoy
Drop
that.
bangers
You're
before then.
you're very committed to that. Very
Yeah.
dedicated to that. You
Yeah.
enjoy it. Hey, let's go. We can't wait to hear the album. Congratulations on that. Live from Hammer, Dahn. Tone Diggs. Tone, haven't been able to, we got to figure out the technical difficulties here, but we have Dan Lanning joining us here in about 27 minutes or so. Oregon being a part of the Big Ten is a massive piece of the conversation. You actually did some work and decided, there's some tiers to this Big Ten and nobody wants to talk about. Go ahead and take it away, Tone.
Yeah, with the Big Ten Media Days being here this week, we had Rule in and then we had Dan Lanning in. I figured it was probably a good idea to let everybody know there is some tiers to this as far as the Big Ten is concerned. Starting at the top there, we've got two national title contenders with Ohio State and Oregon. Both of those teams are absolutely stacked, and both of their win totals are 10.5. I actually took the over for both Ohio State and Oregon. Now, they play each other, so there's going to be one loss in there, but I think whoever wins that game or whoever loses that game, that's going to be their only loss before the Big Ten championship. Those two teams are light years above the rest. The playoff potential teams, Penn State, Michigan, and Iowa.
Tell them, Tony.
Yeah, buddy. Iowa with 18 returning starters. Everyone is back. Cade McNamara is back. They're going to get better on offense. You can't get worse, but, one of the best offense coordinators in the last 20 years is coming into Iowa, okay? Penn State's going to get their 10 wins, okay?
Tim Lester.
Yeah, Tim Lester, yeah.
Who?
What do you mean, who? Tim Lester.
Who?
Guy had a top 25 offense from like 2020 to 2023 or something like that. Okay, Iowa's going to be a lot better on offense. Penn State's going to get their 10 wins. I wouldn't be shocked if the Big Ten got 4 teams in. So those top 2, Penn State's going to get in with their 10 wins probably, and then Michigan's got they lost like 18 starters. Okay, so I don't care how good your program is. It's going to take a little bit for me. So maybe there. USC, they have to learn how to play defense. That's why in the maybe, just maybe category. With Nebraska, who I love with Rule coming back in their first 7 games, is an absolute cakewalk. I think they should be 7-0. And then Wisconsin, I love Fickle in the second year, but they're...
Nebraska's got Colorado week 2.
Yeah, a cakewalk. They got Shadur.
What was their record last year?
Well, what, 3 or 4?
Three or 4 wins.
4
yeah,
and 9?
it's a cakewalk. Okay, Nebraska's got a cakewalk for 7. All due respect to Colorado. Okay, Wisconsin.
You're allowed to say anything you want. What do you say with all due respect?
No, because everybody knows now at this stage of the game, whenever you say with all due respect, something very incredibly disrespectful is coming out of your mouth. Him saying cakewalk.
I mean,
it's at home. It's at home too. If it was in Boulder, maybe it's a different situation.
After getting beat up by Dakota.
North Dakota State
Tony's
big one.
point.
That's pretty disrespectful too. It's just assuming that's going to take place. But with that being said, I don't think anybody understands that North Dakota State's a real deal.
Yeah, battle.
That's a real program.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Colorado fans don't know that. I think they're expecting.
They play ball.
They're going to find out.
This is like us watching the men's basketball team in the Olympics. We're winning by 2. What are we even talking about? Colorado North Dakota State is going to be a game. We all sense it. Like a very good game. But there's going to be a lot of Colorado fans, I think, that are maybe new to college football, which is not a bad thing. The more fans, the better.
All the Colorado fans are new to college football.
Oh! Doesn't matter. That was a shot from Tone Diggs. Don't let Tone Diggs think that he's got a stranglehold on what college football fans are allowed to be. More college football fans, the better. But there is some new ones that potentially don't understand it all. The Dakotas play ball. Like that is how it goes. Yeah, but I never heard of them. It's like, well, that's on you. That's not on them. In Colorado, opening the season with them, I think Coach Prime probably not thrilled about that. They had TCU last year, opening the season, and now they got North Dakota State. At some point, Coach Prime's going to be like, can we get one here? Can we get one? Can we get one here? Can we get an Eastern Washington or something? Can we get a
FCS Northwest?
Can we get one here? Yeah. Can we get an FCS Southeast? You're like, what, can we get something like that? Dakota's a real deal. Then they got Nebraska. Okay, I understand what you're saying, but it was pretty disrespectful. But you don't care because you're actually tiering teams right now, which is disrespectful in of itself, too.
Exactly, and I said with all due respect, Wisconsin. I like Wisconsin as a team, but they got to play. I think those top 5, 6, 7 teams. I believe Wisconsin also has to play those top 3 tiers, and they have to play Alabama this year. Wisconsin's got a very, very hard schedule, and then the rest of those teams at the bottom. Good luck. We'll see you next year.
Michigan State sucking.
Sig
Signetti.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole new program. Everyone's new.
So Washington's just bad now?
Washington has Belichick coaching, and they just they got Belichick coaching them.
Yeah,
Bill.
Yeah, well,
They
right.
have 2 guys from last year's roster.
Bingo.
I think.
Jed Fish had that Arizona team playing well
He did.
second half of the season.
Turn them around
He did.
quick.
In a couple years, Washington's gonna be great. in a
And
couple
careful
years.
with the Indiana because they don't just like everybody. They hate a lot of teams.
What do you mean?
I forget who do they hate again?
Purdue, Ohio State too. But yeah, they are predicted to finish 18th out of 17th out of 18.
No, you
teams
guys
in the
haven't Googled him.
Big Ten.
What do you mean?
You haven't Googled Signetti.
Why?
He wins. Everywhere he goes.
That is what he said to us, didn't he?
Yeah, Google me.
I tell him to Google me. All right, Tone, we appreciate you pissing off at least, I don't know, 10 people in the Big Ten there immediately.
What college football's for, Pat.
Hey, we'll circle back and look at this whenever the season's over. AJ, how do you feel about that as a Big Ten hero in a Big Ten Hall of Famer? Ohio State, Oregon at the top. We talked to Dan Lanning about it this morning. We'll be airing it here in 21 minutes or so. He knows that there's a target, like they're at the top of a conference that they've never played in before, and they got Ohio State at home, I think. They got to go to Michigan, I do believe. So there is a couple big ones in there. But how do you feel about Oregon? What if Oregon comes in the Big Ten and just wins the Big Ten? Oh, my God, AJ.
Seriously.
Oh,
Oregon's legit. I mean, you're not. It's not crazy to think of. I hope it doesn't happen as a fan of Ohio State, obviously. But Oregon's awesome. We know how good they are. I think this is Tone. This is pretty good, Tone. Legit. I feel like these tiers could hold up a little bit. I think your bottom tier could bump a couple teams up most likely, but we don't really know who's going to be good, who's going to be bad. But yeah, I like this. I think even Michigan could be popped into the top one. Don't you got to beat the champ, right? What are you saying, Tone? You're saying they lost 18 starters?
Thank you, AJ, and I agree. There could have been a tier above the bottom one with like Minnesota and Washington and Rutgers. Teams like that, teams that are better than your Northwesterns, your Indianas, Purdue, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, put Indiana a little higher. I think you got to bump UCLA up after hearing their coach speak. All I thought
we have
was,
video out of the Big Ten media conference.
I want to play for that guy.
Brand new head coach for the UCLA Bruins. Former professional, obviously, football player.
Great player.
Great runner. Great dog. Absolute dog. Hired as a head coach at UCLA. He is making an appearance at the Big Ten media conference for the first time. And big stage huge. For this press conference. And here's how it goes for the UCLA Bruins at their first media day for the Big Ten.
Coach Foster, welcome to the Big Ten. We'll begin with your opening statement.
How you guys doing?
Good start.
I'm happy to be here.
Hell yeah.
Glad to be a part of this great conference. Finally putting 2 great emblems together, UCLA and the Big Ten.
Saw that walking out here.
We're a school
Open up
that's
for questions
won,
now.
123 championships, so
More.
this fits us being right in this conference. Football-wise, we're just excited. I'm sure you guys don't know too much about UCLA, but our football program, but we're in LA. It's us and USC. We
Oh shit.
I'm just basically excited.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go. Good.
Any questions?
Nailed it. That end part there, we could have slid in 4 or 5 different times.
At least.
Literally 4 or 5 different times. And I don't know what other opening statements look like because obviously we haven't seen any of them other than that one because of what you just watched. And at the beginning you think to yourself, okay, not bad. How you guys doing? And then he starts going and he goes, the 2 logos next to each other. It's like he literally just saw that as he was walking out there. I don't know. I don't think he was prepared. I don't think he was told what was going to happen. And then he thought to himself, what am I doing?
He thought he was just answering questions. He probably thought it was like a presser where I stand up there and they ask me questions the whole time. And as he's walking out, and the other coaches probably are not standing around watching other coaches' pressers, so they probably have never seen another coach's opening remarks. So he probably, as he's walking out, he hears him say, "Oh, your opening remarks," and he's thinking,
"Opening remarks?
I didn't get that memo."
It's great to be here. Mm-hmm. We're in LA as the title of our school.
He was expecting a big pop from the audience right there.
Yeah, the stadium.
Yeah.
Because the stadium is a little bit, that's a tough audience.
Yeah, brutal.
I would like to know the Q&A portion after that. Did they immediately ask, were you prepared for what you just had to do there?
Did you know this is what this goes, like how this goes, or are you blown away that you're even on a stage right now?
To be clear, I've seen friends of mine who are regrettably high in a situation kind of think about going down a road, and then they stop, and then that road starts going like this in their brain, and then they... Where am I right now?
Turn around.
I watched that. I'm not saying he's high there, but I'm just saying I have seen that train of action happen to a brain before in different cases. This doesn't mean you're going to be a bad coach.
No, not at all.
This means your SID needs to be fired, though.
Immediately.
That's what that means. Because obviously should have been a heads up given at some point. All these Big Ten media days, SEC media days, ACC media days, all it tells me is that football is right around the corner, AJ. Legitimately. Everything that we see just gets me excited for football being right around the corner. We have more clips happening around training camps. Justin Fields just threw an absolute seed deep down the left sideline. Russell Wilson is out because his calves are too big, is what we're being told. And he was able to connect with Van Jefferson down the left sideline here, if this will ever load. Shout out to X, been doing a lot more of that.
A lot of buffering lately.
A lot of buffering lately.
Who's trying to shut him down?
Well, freedom of speech doesn't mean that it's going to be great connection every single
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
that's not the...
We unplugged a couple servers, save a couple of bucks,
Whoa.
Save a couple bucks. I didn't know they were pitching pennies at Twitter.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what we're trying to do, but it does feel like the platform maybe is getting too big, too used to...
Yeah.
Can we keep up with everything? I don't think so. So a lot more buffering. Also, don't love that we're just going right to the next video as if it's...
Hate it.
I don't like that.
Sometimes good memes come.
Yeah. It's not even related sometimes, most of the time.
Ever. Yeah, it's just something completely different. And hey, X, you know that I started watching this video 10 seconds in, okay? Why don't you get me back to not going back to the beginning. We're going right to another video about a train hitting a car.
Yeah.
It's like,
and guess what? No one got out of the car in time.
No.
Because it seems like there's a lot of that kind of stuff on X, too.
And then the next one right after it, too. There's a guy that, you think you know who he is, and then all of a sudden he's 8 feet tall. I have no idea what the hell's going on. And that keeps going. That's not the last one.
And then there's a Japanese inflatable.
What the hell is that thing?
That guy's everywhere.
What
thing sucks.
He's everywhere.
I don't know. A couple of the gimmicks I found.
Those traps are never big enough.
I found to be pretty funny, but X is an interesting place right now, but you could certainly find out everything hours and hours and hours and hours before other news platforms. So you kind of got to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge your way through X these days as you're trying to find your stuff. But Justin Fields hit a seed down the left sideline to Van Jefferson. Russell Wilson is out today with a calf injury. Tone, whenever you see something like this, you go 6 to midnight, pal. That's accuracy. People said Justin didn't have that. He had the ability to run, but maybe he's not as pure of a passer that he needs to be as yet. And Russell Wilson's the guy. You see some highlights out of Justin Fields on a day that's his day, you got to start feeling pretty good about yourself.
Yeah, it feels awesome. I mean, that's why you bring him in. Guy's a number 1 overall pick. Okay, that's what he's gonna do. Listen, I know it wasn't exactly a number 1 overall pick, but that's what he is. Okay, whoever made that noise. I know why Russ got hurt. I reached out to a few people. If you've ever seen Little Giants, the one fat character was sleeping with his cleats on the night before the game in bed. Russ was doing that because he was so excited for training camp today. When he got out of bed, he wasn't used to the dorm room floors that are. Yep, exactly. So calf injury there for Russ.
He had to pee middle of the night because you're in dorm room St. Vincent. You got a public restroom. That's always the part of the dorms that you have to go back and stay. You kind of humble yourself. And in the middle of the night, you're either peeing into bottles right next to the bed and then throwing those bottles away in the morning. Of
course.
Much more likely outcome. Or you're getting all the way up and going to the bathroom that's down the hall with a bunch of lights on, waking all the way up, running into somebody who's taking a monster dump in there and then kind of getting back to your room.
Bingo.
Russ had his cleats on, probably sleeping nude with cleats on.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
That's
no,
why we're lucky it's just a cap.
not nude. He was Donald Ducking it with just his jersey on. He had just his jersey on, no pants, and then his cleats. That's kind of what he does. But no, seriously, Justin, getting these, it's not going to hurt. Him getting these first team reps is not going to hurt. They were in the pistol a lot. Artie's in his. I don't think so. Artie's in his bag already. Things are very, very confident so far.
Artie is the offense coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, formerly the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, and then the offense coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. That started this entire Kansas City Chiefs run with whenever he had Derrick Henry and Tannehill, and they had the Chiefs on the ropes by 20 in the playoffs, and then bang, all of a sudden Chiefs come back. He gets a head coaching gig at Atlanta. It does not work.
No.
at all. Now he's back running an offense in Pittsburgh, and also he has a mustache. His mustache is back.
Yeah.
That's big news.
Yeah. The biggest news. That's the biggest news out of camp. So
Yeah, he had shaved that because I think he wanted to look professional for his interviews whenever he was thinking about getting back into coaching after he was fired by the Atlanta Falcons or whatever. And every time any human had seen him from Pittsburgh, they said, "Why don't you have your mustache? What happened to your mustache? What happened to your mustache?" And he said numerous times on the record, "I'm growing it back. I'm growing it back. I'm growing it back." But he wasn't, because we've seen him weeks and months later, and there was not even any stubble on his face. What he said is, once football's back, the stash is back. And if you got Justin Fields throwing dimes, Artie Smith with a stash, they're saying Najee Harris is as quick as a hiccup out there. He's in a contract year, obviously, the running back. Why not have a Pickens year? What is the deal? Are the Steelers all the way back? Well, Mike Tomlin, if you listen to him speak, Mike Greenberg called it a masterclass. Here's him chit-chatting about both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields being on the team and both being very high profile.
Very carefully. You guys think I'm actually back myself into a corner, so you guys are going to ask me daily about the rep allocations? No way. I've been on the job too long for that.
He said, yeah, we ain't even going to be starting any drama anywhere with how many reps we're given to who and who's what. He said that Russell Wilson's going to start on the pole, which is a racing term for, I think it started with horse racing potentially. Now it's in car racing as the leader in the clubhouse, but that's only because of his experience and being able to set practices, which they did at his house. Justin Fields was there the entire thing. Steelers are handling it right, which is seemingly something we would expect from Mike Tomlin, who has the opportunity to do this for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, Tomlin was asked, how are you going to handle those reps? And that's how it started, very carefully. He had to deal with that when Kenny was there and Trubisky. So he's kind of experienced with that now on the reps and how he's going to handle that. Russ is going to be the day one starter no matter what, unless this calf thing is something. But no, everything's good. TJ looks good. Cam Hayward's practicing, not a hold in, not a hold out. That guy is there and he is practicing. Muth is the chess piece this year so far from day one in camp. Arthur Smith is moving him all around. Things are great so far. And yeah, the stash on already looks great. The stash there is going to lead the Steelers to the Super Bowl, and the stash on Paul Skeens is going to lead the Pirates to the World Series. So.
Hell yeah. Love that. Stash power.
It's all the way back.
Stash power. Thank you, Tone. We got some people that are not in training camp. That is a big deal. CD Lamb didn't show up to the Dallas Cowboys training camp. Obviously, he's looking for a new deal. Trent Williams. San Francisco 49ers holding out, looking for a new deal in San Fran. The entire conversation was Brandon Ayuk, because he was getting loud. Now, the best tackle in football.
The best.
Is he was going in motion, too, with this offense, remember? Not just a left tackle. He's also going in motion. I assume they're going to get him the ball at some point. And he's saying, well, you better give me a bag because he has no guaranteed money left on his contract. So there's a lot of conversations to be had over there in San Francisco. This one's a big deal, though, AJ. This is a massive ordeal here.
Yeah, this is massive. And it's funny that we didn't really mention it. I'm sure internally they absolutely want to get this situated. So what it looks like, since he has no guarantee left, he wants them, hey, you need to guarantee me a big chunk of money here over the next year or two.
Yeah, especially as a tackle, as an offensive lineman, and as
him being the guy, like the enforcer, the man, like in the league. That's who he is.
Yeah, he's the one that leads them out of the tunnel, actually the guy that leads them out of the tunnel, and then not just off the field, on the field, he's the guy that leads the entire way. He's the one coming in to fight. Like, he is the tone setter for the offensive side for the San Francisco 49ers. Didn't even know that this was potentially a thing. We knew the Ayuk stuff was brewing, and we have eyes on Ayuk now, who attended San Francisco 49ers practice. The way the video was presented by Fox 40, I do believe, out in San Francisco, was as if, Fox 40 Sports, Sean Cunningham, it was kind of presented as Ayuk and John Lynch jovially talking and walk off the field together. Brandon Ayuk showed up to practice, backpack, white shirt, right, very loud, sunglasses, I believe there's do-rag on, I believe the whole thing, just obviously sticking out, right? Not practicing. Yeah. Obviously sticking out, but he's there, I assume, is his entire angle. He talks to somebody. Here's John Lynch coming up to him now. Obviously, hey, good to see you. We're going to hopefully get this entire thing worked out. That's kind of what Fox 40 was reporting. They kind of walked together, and this is all in the same time. And the reason why we know is because if you play this, it's all during the same song. So, it's all during the same song that is being played at practice. Rock. It was rock.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It was rock.
Is that juice check on the?
Juice check was in the thing, but here's John Lynch and Ayuk talking. Yeah, we're going to figure it out. And then Ayuk walks off the field or past these video people rolling, almost gets taken out by a teammate. Boom, right there. Almost gets taken out by a guy. And then he heads off the field. So I wonder if John Lynch said, hey, let's go meet, let's go chat. Is he going back inside? Did he say, hey, don't get off the field, we don't need distraction? Like, I do wonder about the entirety of it all and how it ends up, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would imagine John Lynch wants to sit down with him and communicate. That's what you would think they'd be setting up. But, yeah, we've seen times when players come on the field and coaches say, hey, get out of here, you're a distraction. Now, that's not what that looked like to me, but that has happened in the past.
Ayuk is a dog. There's a lot of teams that would want him, but he is being very open about not wanting a contract. Him showing up and going on the field the way he did, better or worse than just not showing up? Better, right?
I don't think he showed up without some kind of conversation before he showed up. Like, it don't make sense to do everything that he did and just show up out the blue.
What if he did just walk in through the fans?
That'd be nuts.
Because he did dap up that he was walking around. I don't want to say aimlessly, because normally, like you see Jordan Love, he's hanging out with the quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you see guys that are there, they're hanging out with their position group. He was just kind of walking around. I don't know.
It was
a
aimlessly.
weird. It was kind of like an aimlessly. I don't really know how.
Backpack on.
Like he just got there, like he just came from the car or something.
Yeah, like he just came from somewhere. He got the backpack on. He got something there to get ready to go. Like, there's no way he just walking around with a backpack. I don't think so.
Well, and the Trent thing all but signs his fate. Like, if they need to pay Trent Williams, and obviously, you know, they've paid other guys in the offseason, but they need to get Trent Williams done. They're not going to not pay him and then go out and sign Ayuk to a massive contract before Trent Williams. So him not being happy, like, that's not going to change because he's not the next guy in line now. It's Trent Williams.
Well, and Florio did say to us, I don't remember if it was earlier this week or last week when he came on, he basically intimated that, like, hey, this is probably the last season that Trent Williams is with the Niners and Kittle. Like, he was making it seem like a lot of these guys, like, they'll make, like, and
the Niners have so much all the time. And success brings this, but it's like there's so much stuff seemingly all the time that they have to deal with, and they're still great.
It's crazy how they continue to win. Not just win, like they're dominant. Like they're expected to be their NFC Championship, Super Bowl, you know, and they have been for the last several years.
Let's run through the NFL real quick, all the people that are pissed. T. Higgins obviously playing on a one-year deal. He's not exactly thrilled about it, but he's bought in about it. Yeah. Ayuk obviously wants a new deal. Trent Williams obviously wants a new deal. Tua wants a new deal. Jordan Love wants a new deal.
Going to be done any day.
Micah Parsons wants a new deal. Jamar Chase wants a new deal.
CeeDee Lamb.
Matthew Judon is seeking money. CeeDee Lamb is holding out. Everybody wants money. There's a lot of drama.
Tyreek Hill
wants to redo his deal. Yeah, but Tua still has to be paid. What is Tua going to be paid? The Jordan Love stuff, Rossini reported that there is a chance. She's the host of Scoops alongside Chase Daniel. She's from The Athletic. She reported that this thing could go a couple weeks, maybe.
Yeah, and Florio came in like right after and said, nah, this will be done within the next day or two. So
that's seemingly what everybody has said with the Jordan Love deal, but it's about to be the highest of all time. You assume there's a lot of contract negotiation.
For sure.
I's that need to be dotted, T's that need to be crossed. How come they weren't crossed or dotted before training camp? Who cares? Once it gets done, it gets done. We all move forward, but there's a lot of players that aren't happy with their contract situation, and there's a lot of people vying for 10 spots on a list of the greatest sports plays of the past week. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for SportsCenter Top 10 presented by the Pat McAfee Show of the last week. AJ, are you ready?
I cannot wait.
We have gone splunking through the entire internet to find stuff, and we might have to fast forward and speed through these. So let's make sure we keep that in mind as we are rolling through this top 10. At 10 for Omar, LeBron James in the pre-Olympic games where they're playing the same exact teams that they'll be playing in pool play in the Olympics. The games were a lot closer than we could have ever imagined. But thank God we got a 39-year-old who put the entire country on his back, the team on his back, not only hitting clutch threes and layups, but also celebrating and letting the boys know we can't be only winning by 4 against Germany or 2 against South Sudan. He is seemingly the only one playing, and we appreciate him for that. USA, USA, that's for you, OMAR, the man who loves the James family. Let's go to a piece of history here. Castellanos against the Pirates hits an absolute dinger. Why is this a thing? Well, this particular guy with a drive to left field seemingly hits home runs on every day in which there is a big event. The one against the Pirates was when Biden withdrew. The one against the A's is the day that Donald Trump got shot in the ear by an assassin attempt, which leads to a belief that anytime something big happens in the world, maybe we need to absolutely Hammer Castellanos to hit a dinger. Speaking of the home run against the A's, the same day as an assassination attempt happened on President Donald Trump, this week on Breaking 50 with Bryson DeChambeau, Trump was throwing seeds and talking shit.
You think Biden can do that?
What a line. I think that entire series, that entire episode showcased the people that Trump is an actual golfer.
Yeah.
Actual golfer. Had his own eagle. How about this? Mayhem, Allstate. These commercials are awesome. These commercials are incredible. Why? Because they're out of the realm of reality. There's no way this could actually happen, Mayhem. That's so funny. There's a human who's going to dislodge a boat, and then it's going to catch up, and it's going to crash and total a couple cars, and Allstate will cover it. Why? Because Allstate is ready for mayhem. Enter Florida. Man trying to hold boat to truck with his body. Fails miserably. Boat exits the trailer and docks on the side of the cement with Florida people looking on. This happened the same week the Mayhem commercial was released. We didn't know people could be as dumb as that particular man. Ladies and gentlemen, we found him. Absolute dipshit. Let's get to 6. Quickly. Whale topples boat in New Hampshire, the Atlantic Ocean. Obviously, the 2 men survived. They swim back. That's the top play. How about Felipe Nunez, a man who has 360,000 followers? Tony Hawk posted him. Not only does he not have legs, he's able to do skateboarding tricks that nobody could have expected. Let's head over to Ireland in Irish hurling. Robert Downey goes coast to coast with a top bid strike to lift all of Ireland to their feet as they one-handed snag an entire field pitch run and then an assassin. How about Macy Joncic, quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers representing Apex Predator team, throws a dot in a one-handed catch by Brooklyn Hill in the NFL Flag Championships. Superstar talent all over the place in the past week. Let's go to number 2, Leon Edwards, an Englishman preparing for a fight, jogging through town. Bucket! That has to be fake, right? Doesn't it? Has to be fake. Different angle. Bucket! What are your thoughts, Ty?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but that's fake. We've been duped by Steph Curry before. We've seen this thing.
Watch
it's
it!
Neat, but it's
Let's
fake.
go to the number 1 play in Sports Center Top 10 presented by the Pat McAfee Show. It's Patrick Mahomes back on his bull shit. That was fun. That was a blast. Ladies and gentlemen, friend of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who is the head coach for the Oregon Ducks, formerly outside linebacker for William Jewell College in Missouri. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Lanning.
Glad to be here, man.
Hey, Coach, thank you so much for making time, taking a trip over here. Obviously, we are filming this early in the morning, not as early as your brain feels, and this is kind of like what the season's going to be, right? Now that Oregon and all these West Coast teams are in the Big Ten, long trip over here, early morning, going to have the boys going. How do you feel going into the year?
Yeah, it was a good practice trip for us, just flying out here. I was kind of saying to myself, this is what it's going to be like when we play Purdue, when we play some of these Midwest teams as well. So it's fun.
Oregon's way out there because I had the chance we did college game day out there.
Right.
And it was amazing. It's beautiful when you get there. But damn, that flight is a long, how many, I haven't looked at your entire schedule. How many trips do you have to take east? And is that a part of the conversation to the boys this offseason, or is that just we'll handle it whenever we get there?
I certainly talked to the guys that flew over today. I said, all right, just envision yourself rolling over to play Purdue now. You're right. That's exactly what we experienced. We come over here to the East Coast 3 times. We play Wisconsin, Purdue, Michigan this year, so it should be fun.
Okay, so that's not that bad. That's 3 trips is a lot better than what it could be.
Last year we went to Texas Tech, a pretty long trip from Oregon, so we're used to travel a little bit.
Whenever you try to find guys that fit your team, because Kirk Herbstreit said yesterday you guys are guaranteed to win that.
Yeah, right. 16 or 9.
Did you hear that he said that? He said
I heard a lot of whoa. Yeah, little bit of juice afterwards.
Yeah, that was.
And then I heard May. He started to backpedal.
No, well, I think if you go back to his original statement, he did say May, but we didn't hear that.
You guys sliced that out.
Bingo, yeah. But for the last couple years, building what you're building, does it feel like this is the team that has a chance to go on a big run, and then you get the new Big Ten kind of like curveball thrown in there? How do you adjust? How do you handle it all? And how do you feel about the team going in?
Yeah, I really like our team this year. Every year's a new year. This is certainly the most talented team we've had since I've been there. Our roster's changed a lot. I think we had 10. There's 10 guys on our team right now that were there when I got there. So going into year 3, it's a different group. It's an exciting group. They work really hard, but let's just be really honest. You got to play on Saturdays to figure out where you're at.
All those games, I mean, Washington and you guys obviously is going to be talked about for a while with how that whole thing went last year and the Pac-12 kind of becoming what it is. I know the boys are going to have some questions about that going forward, but how do you get ready for like new opponents, brand new teams, everything like that? Or are you thinking they got to get ready for us? Like, how do you?
It's a combination of both, right? I mean, I don't think the brand of football, winning football is winning football, right? So the game hasn't changed. We have to play really well, but we do scout the opponents. We just got done with a coaches retreat. That's where I just came from yesterday in Central Oregon, and we spent a lot of time doing summer scouting reports, kind of figuring out, okay, what's different? What do we have to practice? What personnel groups do we have to work more? What scheme changes do we need to make just to line up against some of these teams in this conference? It's exciting. When you look at this conference, there's some great football being played in it.
Great football.
Great football.
Yeah, like, and there's also a thought that it's, you know,
a little physical.
Like, because they have
it's Bloody Tuesday.
Well, because they have to be, not only because of the weather, but because there's, you know, where everything is located. And it's like your team on the offensive side, we're flying. Hey, here we go. We are in the post-Bo Nix era now for Oregon. He was,
that's right.
What, 45 years old? He got drafted?
42,
Yeah, he was 42. And they're talking he's going to be rookie of the year. There's people that are very in the NFL with a lot of knowledge are like, hey, he's going to be rookie of the year for Denver. What is it like now with a year without him? Because I know you and him were like literally very tight.
Yeah.
And obviously dependent upon each other for a lot of the success that you had early there at Oregon. But what is it like without Bo? And have you talked to Bo much?
I did. I actually talked to Bo last week. He's doing awesome. You know, I'll miss Bo, but I get to be a fan from afar. Now watching what he does. But that's what's exciting about college football is you don't get to keep the same team for 10 years.
Yeah, but you guys were kind of doing that with COVID. There's like,
we had a couple long ones. But I mean, if you look at college football last year, that's college football.
There was a guy 9 years or something like that. College.
Yeah. Saw that. He wasn't on our team. He used to be on our team.
But the post-Bo Nix era, is there something to that about like a steady leader basically being the quarterback and just understanding what you have at the quarterback position, which is the most one, and then kind of transitioning away from that to find the next guy?
There's something to experience, right? Especially when you talk about in big games. And Bo obviously had experience, but now we have a guy, you know, in Dylan Gabriel that's got a lot of experience, right? He's played a lot of college football games. It'll be a transition. It'll be new, and we got to lean in on each player's strengths. So it's going to be different. I think that's great college coaches are a lot like high school coaches where they can adapt to their personnel and change what they do.
When Dylan comes in, obviously everybody has massive respect for him because he's already done so much on the field. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. But, I've been more impressed with Dylan even as a leader. He's gone on offensive retreats with the offensive crew. He has the managers over to his house to watch a fight. I mean, there isn't a janitor in the building or a custodian that he doesn't know. I mean, this guy just connects in a unique way. And he drives a minivan. So
well, that's weird because I heard Phil Knight's just giving you guys open show.
Unlimited money, right? I don't think we'd ever lose a recruiting battle if that was the case.
No, if that was the case. No, I heard that is the case.
Oh, that's what. Well, somebody's got to tell me about that. We don't have that yet. I think it's impressive that guys like Kirby have been signing the #1 class in the nation without any NIL money this entire time. So impressive. No, obviously, Coach Smart took a little shot at us. I don't think it's a serious. If you want to be a top 10 team in college football, you better have great support. We have that, but it's not. It's 1 + 1 + 1, right? It's also the 34 or 300 teams that we went to this spring to visit. It's the 23 satellite camps. It's when they come to your campus. It's our staff. It's our alignment with our entire university that makes recruiting work.
You and Coach Smart don't know each other very well.
We know each other well.
Yeah. How is that whole? Because you guys all come from the same tree, which everybody understands is the Saban tree. And then there was obviously the conversation about how Saban wanted to hire you, but then you end up at Georgia, and then now you're obviously the 38-year-old guy who's running the Oregon Ducks football. 38, this guy.
Yeah, no big deal.
Hey, that a baby?
Yeah.
Hey, that a baby?
I'm 37 doing this.
Yeah, I'm 37. So I love what
I felt good until I heard that.
Yeah, Bingo, I'm younger than you, obviously, and I look way older than you. But in that entire coaching tree, obviously, there's a lot of expectations for success. You've always had expectations to be great. Then whenever you go to Oregon, you have this success. Do you call on guys that have had, like, Kirby Smart and Mike Saban and all them? Do you still talk to them even though they're talking shit about you on a regular basis?
I still definitely visit with Kirby. I consider him a great mentor, and I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for guys like that. Kirby's changed my career. I probably learned more from Coach Smart than any other coach that I've ever worked with in my career.
He still has that Blood Tuesdays or Bloody Tuesdays, and we ask him and we ask a lot of these coaches about, like, with these generations, I don't want to say they're getting soft because they're not soft. They have to deal with a completely different set of in their phone, what they're hearing from people they've never met before. A mental toughness is built with this new digital era for these young athletes, I think, that I didn't have to handle. I'd get on AOL Instant Messenger, and somebody would add me as a friend and call me a douchebag from Penn Hills, and I'd be like, wow,
you didn't handle that well.
That's right. Where you want to fight? Like, these kids are just reading terrible things about themselves.
You hope not, right?
Well, you hope not, but it is.
They are.
It is.
Reality.
It's right there.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different mental toughness, I think, than what we had to go through back in the day, where the rules were a lot lighter on how much you could really push and work and everything like that. Then we hear Coach Smart talk about we're still
bang.
We're banging. Do you feel like there's a nice balance?
I think you have to.
Okay.
You have to. But you have to bang, especially early in the season. If you're not going to bite as a puppy, you're not going to bite as a dog, right? We got to battle early in the season. Now, we spent more time visiting with NFL teams about longer seasons this year. How do you adapt your schedule at the end of the year to kind of handle that? And what's that look like as your guys have gotten a lot of reps and snaps? But yeah, we try to be physical at practice. We're going to be physical at practice because that's the way football's supposed to be played.
That's beautiful. Coach Dutch Danger has a question for you.
Yeah, I'm 3-time national championship winning
Congratulations.
coach. Thank you very much.
Way to go, Coach.
That. Yeah, unfortunately, there we are.
That's
right
what it's
there,
all about.
Utah Utes. Yeah, it gets you one of those, Coach. But one of the things you mentioned was only having 10 guys on your team from when you first got there in year 3. How much recruiting of your own team are you doing? Are you kind of letting those guys go if they do want to go to the portal? Is that one of those things where, hey, if you don't want to be here, you can kind of, there's the door, go ahead. This is Oregon. Look at the jerseys we're wearing. It's sick. Or is it more so like you have that conversation, and then if it's best for the player to leave, you let that guy go because of the fact, probably better for him, probably better for you too, because of the recruits you're bringing in.
Yeah, retention is a huge part of what we do. And, the other thing we're really proud of is we haven't lost a starter. Since the transfer portal is open, we've been able to retain guys that play for us. So we want to keep the guys that make an impact on our team, that are great influences for our team. But if you don't want to be there, then that's part of the process of moving on. We've been really fortunate to find out these guys want to be here, right? They want to be a part of what we're doing. Yeah, my ears don't fit. But yeah, we've been really fortunate to have a group that wants to be there, and retaining the right players is super important.
Oregon's far. We've talked about this a few times.
I've heard that, yeah.
A few times. It is
top left.
So it's
top
way
left.
over there. It is way over there.
It's Canada, basically.
You get there, it's beautiful, though. Is that a part of the recruiting of it? And I think we saw Coach Prime be a part of this, too. Like, hey, we just got to get them on campus, and they see how beautiful it is. And
no doubt.
It's all good no matter where they're from.
Right.
Do you feel the same way about Oregon?
Yeah, I'd never been in Oregon until I got off the plane as the head coach there. So that was my first time ever there. And this summer, that's what we kind of did. We did a little trip to Missouri with the family, and then went back and explored the Pacific Northwest, whether it's on the coast or in Central Oregon. It's a really pretty state. A lot of fun.
It is beautiful, but getting recruits, is
yeah, they love that piece for sure. And families will come up and they'll say, hey, they want to run over to the coast for a day because it's different. It's different. You're in the mountains. It's a unique experience, so I think they definitely enjoy that.
With where you're headed and where you're going, and Coach Rule told us every day of the season he's on the phone for an hour, talking to families, trying to find the right people, trying to learn about people. Is that an accurate depiction of everybody's life? Like you're recruiting all day, every day?
If you want to be the best.
Is that blown out of proportion or no?
No, yeah. You're definitely taking phone calls regularly to be the best. That's what it takes. And then the product on the field, has to sell your team as well. But you're not going to sign players if you don't have a relationship.
When I was in college, Oregon's, we'll go back to Phil Knight and Nike. Kirby Smart said you guys are getting just a blank check like your Macintosh. That was a great movie back in the day. But when I was in college, we would just see pictures of the Oregon locker room,
right,
and all the Nike stuff. And I think they had power outlets in their locker, and we were like, "Damn, this place!" And they get all the newest Nike stuff.
Right.
That added on top of NIL probably does make you guys a little bit more of a weapon. And do you lean into that? Yeah, I would assume you have to.
That's Oregon, though, right? I mean, Nike actually started Oregon with a coach and his athlete, right? That, Bowerman and Phil Knight, and then being able to look at the university and innovation and how they're always on the cutting edge, whether it's a jersey or it's a facility, or it's new age today, NIL, how we're able to compete across the board. I think that's what's always made Oregon special. It starts with Coach Brooks and Coach Blotti. They kind of laid the foundation, but they've signed great players for a long time, whether that's DeAnthony Thomas or Kayvon. They've been able to get great players, but it's about how many great players can you get.
Marcus Mariota.
That's right.
That run back in the day. Now, granted, we're in the middle of a brand new one. Yeah, Penei Sewell is now absolute dog for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
He just goes from right to left, left to right. You need me at guard or center, whatever you need. I'm going to fight everybody that can.
Catches passes.
Yeah. Catches passes. Yeah, he's a freak athlete. It's like Oregon's history is so damn deep. But once again, it is so far over there. And that is why you being able to get all these recruits and maintain this team, I think is like so impressive, because when you talk about convenience and everything, like other people have a lot, like the SEC, you come from the SEC, you know the SEC football well.
Right.
And now with the way the future is kind of looking, SEC, Big Ten, and obviously West Virginia and the Big 12 and everything it's cooking. But it's like, what's your
That's all that. Nothing. Nothing.
Just laughing in your face.
Listen, when Neil Brown and Garrett Green come to town, you better fucking tighten up.
I haven't done a summer scouting report on them yet.
All right,
I need to look. I know I need to look at them.
That's the East Coast. You said Michigan coming to the East Coast, Michigan and Purdue. This isn't the East Coast, okay, Coach?
Midwest.
That's the East. Yeah,
That's
thank
right.
you very much.
Yeah,
Good Lord.
Eastern
Here's
time
the
zone.
map,
See,
just
this
so
is how
you
it
know.
works,
Just so
okay?
you know, and obviously Washington's going to have to do some more traveling than you guys because they're way up left.
That's right.
But it's just like that was the big talking point whenever the new Big Ten was put together. It's like the amount of travel. Sounds like you don't care about that at all.
No, I mean, wherever the game's at, that's where we're going to play it. And really, you heard it. I think the conference has done a great job of trying to make sure teams aren't going too far. At times, there are some trips that are going to happen. That's part of it. And at some point, but they've done a great job of saying, okay, you're going to travel all the way across the coast. Maybe once every 2 years. That's not going to happen every single year.
Well, let's learn a little bit about you as a coach as we hear from Coach Lou Holtz.
Listen, Coach Lanning, I'm not going to get too rah-rah because I know you're not a rah-rah guy. Granted, we all saw the video inside the locker room against Colorado, which I don't think you wanted it out there, but nonetheless, you lit a bottle rocket up the bunghole of every single player on your team. You guys go out there, you beat the shit out of Colorado, and that kind of ended their season. But listen, a lot of teams in the Big Ten, they're looking at you guys. I mean, we saw the big duck floating down the White River in Indianapolis. A lot of Big Ten guys say, look at these assholes coming parade into Indianapolis. It's their conference now, okay? It's not your conference yet, but listen. As we go into this season, kind of has the first day of school feel, new conference, all that kind of stuff. You mentioned some of the teams you're going to have to go play on the road to Michigan. Doesn't sound like you really play anybody else worse than shit in this region outside of Michigan, so you kind of lucked out there. But I'm just curious. Listen, Oregon's it's a blue-chip powerhouse program, obviously, but do you guys kind of feel going into this season, you got a target on your back? You heard it. Kirk Herbstreit just said yesterday, if Oregon doesn't go 16-0, I don't know. Dan Lanning might be on the hot seat. Might be looking at.
Is that what Herbstreit?
Yeah, that's what Kirk. I mean, kind of in between the lines.
Oh, him haul.
Yeah, he didn't say it verbatim. But do you guys feel like, even though it's your first year in the Big Ten Conference, that coming in, hey, listen, we're top dogs. Okay, we're expecting to go win a national championship. We have Dylan Gabriel. We have myself. I'm one of the best coaches in college football. Do you feel like it's kind of your conference for the taking, even though everyone's talking about this is the best Ohio State team ever?
Yeah, that was fantastic, by the way. That's all off the cuff?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
That was a request by.
I did want to hear it. I haven't heard it in a while. I was like, come on. I need a good pep talk from Coach Holtz. That was awesome. We want a target on our back, but nobody has higher expectations for our program than us. I always think it's hard when you put the end goal in sight when you have so much to do in between. So for us, at coach speak, Idaho, right? That's who we got to go beat first. But I am excited about the teams and the venues we're going to get to play in the Big Ten. I'm hoping that big inflatable duck maybe gets to travel to away games with us. I think that might shake people a little bit. We don't mind bothering people over at Oregon. I think that means you're doing something right. You guys don't really mind bothering people either.
Yeah, too much. Don't
need to most times.
Yeah, we do it too much, but we don't get any physical altercations. Let's talk about not bothering people and rattling the cage a little bit, because that speech with Colorado was so sick. Awesome. And then, I mean, obviously Colorado isn't going to feel that way, but like you do that, release it, and then do what you guys do on the field. It's like you had the beat of your team in your hand. You understood exactly what was going to take place. Football games aren't played in Hollywood. They're played on the grass. Like, that line is just like such a depiction of how a lot of people were thinking about this Colorado team. But if you say that, then your team loses. It's like, it's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. So now it getting out, that's a whole nother story. I don't even know how that comes to be in the modern world with social media and wanting exposure and wanting people to understand what your program is. But while you're saying that, you just had such a good feel for your team. You had a good understanding of how revved up they were potentially that week because of how big that Colorado team was being marketed versus how your team was probably prepared for it. How do we get to that moment where you're talking that amount of shit? And is that every game and we just don't see it, or how's it come together?
Yeah, I think every week's different. And as a coach, your job's always to motivate your team. And I feel like I knew our team. I knew how they felt in that moment. As a fan, you might get to see a window view every once in a while. I get to be in the house, and that's something I've kind of said before. Is I was in the house. I knew how the guys felt that week, and they wanted to go out there and perform. But we certainly talk to the team every single game, and the message is different. Sometimes you got to have a little bit of juice. Sometimes you don't.
Are you looking for people that are like you whenever you're recruiting?
I'm looking for people who love football. Right, I think that's the part right now in college football that matters the most are guys that love football, and I do think players take on the persona and really the passion that the coach has. I think they'll play with passion if you coach with passion. So I think that's important.
Yeah, because I tried to play this NCAA 2K25.
I haven't been on it yet. Are
you a gamer?
I mean, I was back in 2008. So it's been a while. It's been a while.
But you at least understand.
I picked it up in COVID a little bit, trying to play Warfare. I told my wife, "Hey, I'm going down to the basement. I got to go play recruits." I got smoked, man. Warzone. If you guys, I was getting destroyed. So I haven't been back on it since. But yeah, maybe someday I'll get a chance to have a little bit of time to play some games.
I'm not a gamer. I can't. My thumbs just don't operate.
Nintendo 64. 007.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Great
my game.
game. Oh, yeah.
That was my game.
Mario Kart, sweet game.
Yeah, good game.
These are
good
easy
games. Good game. 007, great game. Big difference. But back then, the other thing that was cool, you weren't connected online. You're playing against your buddies in the room, and you could screen watch.
Oh, yeah.
I was guilty of screen watching.
People are doing it online now. There's screen watching happening everywhere.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. There's very advanced, sophisticated technological cheating going on.
Interesting.
In this whole thing. But, I suck. I've never, 007, I guess I played it. That's the three-pronger.
The joystick in the middle.
Yeah. So I played that a couple
Golden
times.
Gun.
Yeah, but I sucked. I mean, I was just terrible at the video games. But then I go in there and I try to play, and I got to go in and recruit these kids. I got to do it's just so much stuff. And
I can't believe they put that part in the game.
It's so much.
It's honestly, it's like the biggest part of the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the reality is when you recruit well, you're going to have a good team. So it's important.
Amen.
But all I played for what seemingly was 4 hours, and I only got to play 1/4 of action because I was doing recruiting and trying to build my team and all that shit. All I was doing was just trying to look for players that are like me. Right.
Welcome to our world, man.
Legitimately, that's what it felt like right there. You're just looking for guys that love football.
Yeah, they got to love football.
How do you do that? You ask questions?
I mean, you have to get a feel. You have to get to know these guys, and that's the hard part with the limited amount of times you get to see them off campus. You have to build a relationship. That's why guys like Coach Rule are spending an hour on the phone every day, right? You have to figure out what really makes them work, and then you got to be willing to walk away when you don't feel like you have that feeling.
Yeah, and they walk away on you too. They'll lock
That's
you
right.
out. They'll lock you out.
Is it easy to tell if a guy's full of shit?
It's never easy to tell, right? If there was a predictor, I don't think any of us would miss. But, it's something you can definitely get a feel for. When you start talking to the people around a kid, that's when you get a really great idea of where you're at.
So now we get to follow kind of everything that you do. Literally, everything that you do is being tracked. Allegedly, here is your hard commits
which I can't talk about.
You're not allowed to even say their names.
I'm not allowed to say their names. Why
Really?
would you guys put me in this situation?
This is why your SID wearing that clean suit didn't want you to come, probably. But
Probably.
The recruiting thing, how much reading online should we say, that is accurate?
I couldn't tell you because we don't spend a lot of time looking at all those pieces. It certainly matters. That's gotten better over time, just like recruiting's gotten better over time. You want to go sign great players. Look at the team that just won a national championship, had 13 guys drafted, more than anybody else in the nation. So when you have great players, right, that equates to wins. And
yeah, who said I can't coach? I've learned I can't coach bad players.
He was Saban.
Saban, yeah. He said, I'm not that good whenever I have a bunch of bad players. It's kind of his.
Nick used to say it all the time. And, in college football, it's the one sport where you can have as many first-round draft picks as you want, right? So, in the NFL, you get one, right? But in college, you can have as many first-round draft picks as you want. We want to sign as many first-rounders as we possibly can.
Absolutely. Sounds like a plan. Bruce has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, so with the whole discussion about the Big Ten physicality and, the Pac-12 sort of, more speed attack, how do you think some of those games will sort of shake out when the USCs of the world go to Kinnick to play Iowa? And do you think that, some of the other Pac-12 schools might have to change how they recruit, focus on the trenches a little bit more?
It goes back to me, again, saying winning football is winning football. It's always been important to be big in the trenches, have great talent in the trenches. So does it mean more now than it ever has? Absolutely. It matters. But you're going to have to practice physical. And I think a lot of teams will probably put that as a chip on their shoulder to say, okay, we'll see how tough we are when we get out there on the field.
Will you start recruiting more in the Midwest?
Absolutely. And, that's definitely a benefit. The footprint for us in the Big Ten has certainly changed. We've always been a team that recruits nationally, but now to be able to go into, in Ohio or go into the Midwest, Michigan, some of those areas, I think there's going to be a benefit for us.
Get some ridiculously white Polish linebacker sign to Oregon, fly around. Hey, we need somebody that has an A.J. Hawk neck
That'd be fantastic. We'd take AJ. He's a pretty good player.
I don't know if you've seen him run the ropes, actually. Video was released last night of him in WWE 2K. I don't know if you've heard. We're in the game.
I have not.
People are not happy.
They're not happy.
They're upset.
Wrestling fans are not, much like the college football world wasn't really thrilled that I'm in it. Similar situation with the WWE.
So the whole crew made it in?
Yeah. Here's AJ. They debuted his entrance last night. I don't know if you still would like him on the team or not. Look at the face of intensity coming out of this. Boom.
Oh, my goodness.
4-3 speed.
Strong V-neck, too.
Yeah, well, it's actually just an over. Yeah,
a poncho.
Yeah, he runs the ropes 8 times, I believe, and then he's
going to burn himself out before the game.
No, he never gets gassed out. That's those white linebackers from the Midwest is what I'm talking about. Look, he's
a good look.
Yeah, he is warm and ready to get after it, but that could be a guy that you have to recruit, somebody similar to A.J. Hawk.
Yeah, we'd take an A.J. Hawk, for sure.
38 years old?
A young A.J. Hawk. Does he have kids?
Yeah, he's got several.
10 kids?
Seemingly.
With great names, too.
Every day it has a new one. All right, we are wrapping up here on ESPN. We will be off tomorrow. We hope you have the greatest weekend of all time. We'll be back on Monday. This conversation continues with Coach Dan Lanning on ESPN Plus, YouTube, and TikTok Live. You all are the greatest people on earth. We can't thank you enough for allowing us to do this. Have a great weekend, a stupendous weekend as the Olympic Games start and golf happens and life takes place, and then we'll see you Monday overreacting to it all. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. Goodbye! Nailed it.
Boom.
On the screws.
Fantastic.
Did you see what just happened right in front of your fucking face right there?
That was impressive.
It just happened right in front of your face.
Craziest thing, whenever I did the national champ, I was like, I can't believe how these guys do this. Like, with Reese, people talking in the background as he goes.
Oh, on game day?
Oh, God.
Did you enjoy, is that your first time doing that?
Yeah, that was different.
Because Saban's been on there like 100
He's killing
times.
it too, isn't he?
He's going to be good. So, all right, let's talk about this. You know Coach Saban very well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason why him being on game day is going to be so sweet is because we're in this transition era right now, where a lot of new rules are about to be made, policies. I think litigation is going to be happening for a lot of things, put guardrails on this. I think he's very passionate, and I think the microphone that he'll be given and the platform that he'll be given by College Game Day, I think he's going to take onus on that because a lot of us want him to be like the commissioner of college. We're like, be the commissioner, be the commissioner.
Right.
I don't think him or Miss Terry want to sign up for him being a commissioner, but I do believe he'll be able to say like, hey, this can't happen on game day, and hopefully institute that a little bit.
Yeah.
Most college coaches would be like, hey, if Saban's saying it, we're riding with it, or is there still
at this point? I think if he said it 3 years ago, they say, okay, he's doing this for the benefit of Alabama. I think right now there's no doubt that anything that Coach Saban's saying is probably for the betterment of college football.
What are your thoughts on it all? You're young, obviously you can handle. We talked to Matt Rule. He's been around the block a little bit. He enjoys the shit out of it, and he also went to the NFL, so I think that helps him business wise with the dudes. You're a young coach. Your entire career is basically going to be a part of this new NIL generation. It is like, how do you feel about it? Do you think there are some things that we obviously need to be fixed? Not that you have the answers, but there's some shit that
I spend a lot more time thinking about how can I do it better than everybody else, right? And you don't make the rules, but as they change, can you be the first team to adapt? Can you be the first team to do it in a creative way and take advantage of what exists out there? Because I think a lot of people are slow to change. If you ask me the most important quality of any coach right now in college football, I would tell you it's the ability to adapt. Because rules change every 5 months. Right now, anybody on our staff can coach, which I think is awesome for the game. And there's been some real advocates for college football, like Craig Boyle at the AFCA right now. Former coach at Wyoming has done a phenomenal job of hearing coaches' voices and saying, okay, this is important legislation, to push across.
Yeah, and because we're going to have governments get involved. I mean, it's just like it is the world you're in, and I appreciate the fact that you're like blinders. I just got to do what I'm told to do. I'm trying to build a team and build a program in there. But right now, seemingly outside of college, there is just like...
Yeah, it's wild.
People are scared to death. We're going to lose rivalries. Obviously, we're losing Oregon State, right?
No, we're still playing that.
How many is that signed in for?
I don't know how long, but it's something that we would certainly love to be able to keep.
Because I heard a lot of people be not happy about that. Washington State, there's rivalries all across the board that people are scared.
It's part of what makes college football great. So you hope we can hold on to some of those.
Bingo. People are worried that we're going to lose like the pageantry and what makes college football special. It sounds like you don't believe that's the case. Because
I think that'll still exist for people that think it's important, and hopefully we're able to maintain that. It's not always going to happen, but I think it'd be hard for anybody to sit here and say, watching college football right now, it's not as exciting as it's ever been.
You in Michigan? Michigan?
That's going to be fun, huh?
Yeah. Your team going to Ann Arbor is like so sick to think about.
Yeah, incredible.
I mean, Big Ten championship in Indianapolis.
Yeah,
like
until
Oregon.
2028. It's right here. And it's like
4 more years.
Normally it's Ohio State or Michigan taking on Iowa.
And they'll still be there. Hawks will be there. If you haven't, I know you guys don't play them in the regular season.
I've been there once before when I was at Pitt as a GA. Awesome atmosphere. Obviously, Coach Ferentz is one of those guys that all of us revere. He's done an unbelievable job. So
they couldn't pick up a first down last year, which is certainly a part of the problem. Your team could. Their team was picking up first downs, I think, every half play.
Sure.
They would pick up a first down every half a play snapped.
Do you just make up stats? Like, you sit up here, you're just like,
That's why it's tough.
I love that.
That's why it's tough. Thank you. That is why the game day thing is tough. Because
that's hard, yeah.
Yeah, they're being reality based as opposed to like, this team just seemingly picks up a first down before the ball's even snapped. Which I think people understand what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
Not actual stat there, but it is like contrasting styles. Like him talking about like the way the Pac-12 was running, which is the best year. Felt like the Pac-12 had its best year, and then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere. Was that an eye opener for you? That could even happen? I didn't even know that could happen.
Yeah,
legitimately, I had no idea that a conference, especially as powerful as Pac-12 was, how good it was football-wise, how much money, draft-wise, success-wise, Washington's in the national champion. I mean, it's just like everything's going, and then boom, just disappears out of nowhere.
Yeah,
is that an eye-opener?
For sure. It's where alignment really matters. I remember sitting in those Pac-12 meetings, and it felt like you're sitting at a table, and everybody has a gun under the table, like pointing at each other. We're here. We're not going anywhere. That's a little bit of what. And now being a part of the Big Ten, Commissioner Petiti and the job he's doing, having a little vision down the road, I think is really important in college football, and we're part of a conference that has that now. So,
Connor has a question for you, Coach.
So, looking at the conference as a whole, do you like the fact that there aren't any more divisions? Like, do you think that is a thing that every conference should have? Like, hey, all the teams, let's just line up. And obviously, every year the schedule is going to change. But is that something that you think every conference is slowly going to move towards?
I think everybody in college football wants to see the best teams play at the end of the year, and that's something that this will create. It creates a little bit of parity too, and an opportunity for teams. If you're stuck on one side of the division and you're the second best team, you should probably be playing in the championship. So, I think that's probably a good thing.
Ty has a question for you.
So in terms of recruiting, and this happened this past year, obviously you're happy with where you're at with Oregon. You've built something special, but does it come up now? I mean, like when the Alabama job opened, everyone's looking at the flight tracker. It's like, oh, Dan Lanning's plane just landed at Alabama. Like, do you have to do that with recruits where it's like, hey, listen, I'm going to be here. I understand jobs are going to open in the SEC and wherever else, and that I'm going to be kind of a hot commodity when like a new coaching carousel starts. But like, are kids asking you like, hey, are you going to be here?
I think it's pretty clear where I'm going to be for the next
for sure. But
as long as I'm winning. But certainly. I mean, we never would have released a video if it didn't matter in recruiting. I'm on the phone with a mom. She says, "Well, I see that you're in Tuscaloosa right now." I'm like, "No, I'm actually watching like Born Ultimatum with my kids."
Hell yeah!
What would make you comfortable? Because her son was about to decide where he was going to go, and I said, "What would make you comfortable knowing that I'm going to be here?" She goes, "Well, why don't you release a video? Why don't you make a statement, release a video?" I'm done. And then I actually sent it to her that night before we released it the next morning. Like, hey, what do you think of this? How's this look?
You like this?
I don't piece those together myself. We got an unbelievable creative team, but that's what drives kind of everything we do. I think it's really clear where I want to be and what we're doing, but it's certainly part of the dynamic and what we talk about.
I mean, that's a compliment, though, right? Massive compliment that everybody in college football automatically assumes that you're going to take the biggest gig every single year whenever it's available. That is,
it's a compliment to our staff and the job they do.
Bingo,
it's a compliment to our players. Absolutely. I mean, if you're doing something right, I think that's going to come with the territory.
I appreciated you because we were live, I think, as it was all happening, and I send you a message. I'm like, is there any validity to this? And you literally responded like, no, making a statement. No, like that you were like very, I don't want to say aggressively against it, but that narrative just started running before there was ever an answer.
Right.
And it was like the amount of ripple effect that everybody else who wants to recruit against you too can use that. They're like, hey, that lady probably got a call from another coach. It was like, hey, I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if you're much of a flight tracker, but
Lanning's gone.
Lanning's in Alabama.
There's a FedEx plane right now that she's on.
Yeah. But that's a compliment. And obviously that's the goal, is to always have that. And you came out and said, everything I want to do can be done right here in Oregon. Yeah. Why do you feel that way?
Just the support. Like I said before, Oregon's always been innovative and, ahead of the curve. I feel like that's more the case now than ever. We got unbelievable support. We got a great AD. Moving to the Big Ten was a big piece. I think that, having some clear vision of where we're headed in the future, the teams that we get to play against, and you bring players to your team. I think one of the hardest things as a coach ever is you bring players to your team and then you leave. I have a hard time saying that. Loyalty means something, So I would really struggle stepping away from a place that took a chance on me, gave me an opportunity that I didn't have. and then not being there for it.
What's the story of you getting to Pitt? I forget. There is.
Yeah, I took a long car ride. Took a long car ride to Pitt. Changed into a gas station. Got to meet, and you know, my first coaching job was I think $800 a month.
So you're just
Wife was
football
pregnant.
guy? You were always going to be coach?
Yeah, I was always going to be a coach. I was going to be a coach.
Wife was pregnant and you did that all
Wife was pregnant. I didn't tell him that when I was interviewing. You know, I didn't want any reason to like not sign me up.
Yeah.
So I remember I was actually still in Pittsburgh when she like went into labor or was about to go into labor. She was having those, okay, I think it's close. So I remember going to Coach Graham's office, and at the time a GA job had just opened up at Pitt. And he's like, well, you want the GA job or you want to see your kid born? He was joking. I was like, he was joking. I was like, well, Coach, I guess I'll stay and get the GA. Get your ass in the car, you know, go back. So I drove home, and literally within 8 hours, Niles was born. Our second son was born. So it's always been a part of our journey. I've been really lucky to have support at home, and the wife's made it pretty awesome for us.
Hey, having a great partner is a huge part of success in anything.
Absolutely. She's head coach all year until like these last 2 months where I get to be home a little bit more, and I'm making all these new rules, and she's like, no, that's not how we do things. Assistant head coach, right? You're not the head coach here at home. So
you're always going to be football coach?
Yeah, always. Yeah, always.
I thought maybe you were going to get drafted at WSJ.
Yeah, play outside linebacker.
WJC. WJC. No, I realized right around 7th grade, I used to want to play for the Orlando Magic. Like it was going to be me, Shaq, Penny. And then I realized I wasn't the best basketball player at Richmond, Missouri high school. So I kind of figured out, hey, this might not happen. But yeah, I've always loved sports. As we were driving up, we passed a golf course. I said, that's my next gig. The guy that was mowing the green. I bet he's listening to your podcast right now.
Over here? Nah, that's a really nice, that's a very athletic course.
It's a nice,
they do not love us over there.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think they're the biggest fan.
Tried to golf a couple times.
Couldn't get on.
Well, I would love to mow that course someday.
Well, if you do that, maybe we'll be able to get on.
I can help y'all out.
You can represent for us a little bit. Are you a good golfer?
No. I love the game, but I'm not. We got a lot of work to do.
Any hobbies?
I mean, I like to golf when I can. Beyond that, hanging out with the kiddos. We like to compete in the house.
You guys play cards? You play cards?
Oh yeah, we play little cards, spades. So in college, we did a game called Trash Can Spades. Every Tuesday, whoever lost had to take the trash out.
Smart.
Try to tell our players about that because some of these guys, they don't clean up very well after themselves. So you need a game. You need something that you can connect. So yeah, I like spades. I just learned how to play pitch this summer.
What's that?
It's confusing. I can't explain it to you, but it's a card game. It's kind of like spades.
Okay, so
high, low, points. It's
suits. We're running off
suits. Suits matter. Different chump suit each time.
So in Big Ten country, you should learn how to play euchre.
All right, tell me more.
That's the game.
Spades, but a little bit quick, a little bit different. Less cards, more. It's like spades, very similar to spades.
Okay.
A lot of lying, a lot of cheating. A lot of Big Ten people cheat at this game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I have learned. AJ Hawk's the biggest cheater in the history of this game.
He sucks at the game.
A lot of table.
No
talk.
integrity.
None. AJ Hawk has
hearts.
Yes. Yeah, you already get it.
Sounds like you're cheating too.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen it. Won't stand for it.
Yeah, can't stand for
it.
Do you believe in how you do anything is how you do everything?
Absolutely.
Do you teach?
And I still struggle to make my bed sometimes. But yeah, like I think that's huge. Consistency, right? That's the hard thing for any of us in coaching is like you have to be consistent. And there's going to be days you don't feel like doing things. You got to set the reminder on your phone that you're calling this kid at this time and. But yeah, that's absolutely true.
And whenever your team sees you, I had a friend from my high school, Pat Gartland, shout out. What a maniac, this guy. Hilarious human being, Patrick Gartland. He went on to become a drill sergeant for the Marines. So like he has to be the perfect Marine to these new whatever.
Right.
I don't know the exact type. Each individual branch of the army or military has their own name for whoever the new people. So he had to be the perfect Marine every single day to them.
Right.
He's up 4 a.m. He didn't get any sleep, but he has to look like he is completely fine. They never see him eating. They never see him happy. They never see him laughing. It is like he is the perfect Marine. And he did it. I think he's still doing it. He's been doing it for like 10 years almost.
In character all the time.
All the time. Like he has to be. And
right.
He is not the human that I would assume that would have to do that, but like dog, work ethic, crazy. Like I've been called to do this, like does it and respects it. Do you feel the same way around your team? Like they have to see the same guy?
I think the great part about my job is I get to be authentic, get to be who you are every single day, and I think your players see that. I get to admit, hey guys, I made a mistake here, or I think that's part of what makes our team so close is that we get to really be open with each other and be who you are, get to be authentic. So I don't know that I'd ever want to be in a job where I had to play a different character, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
I used to think about Rich Rodriguez. We'd have like a 7 a.m. meeting.
You've got some epic stories on Rich, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's electric. He is a what? Do you know him well?
When we were at Arizona State, he was at Arizona, and then obviously just being a fan of the game. Some of those teams you guys had at West Virginia were fun to watch. Man.
He's one of the most intense coaches of all time. I think he's kind of lost it a little bit, and he's going to hear this and be pissed off. I think he's lost his hard edge a little bit.
His fastball.
Yeah, and now
I don't know. Every time I met him, he's shooting smoke, man. He's on top of things.
Yeah, he is. He's trying to make one. I think he's gonna.
He changed football. I mean, he changed football. Zone read, and he runs the ball as good as anybody. So
never gets any credit for it too, which is another thing on his
chip on his shoulder.
They'll never give me any fucking.
Well, here, how about kudos to Rich for changing college football forever.
Hey, Rich Rodriguez. We appreciate you. We appreciate the hell out of you. Yeah, he's an epic human. But we'd be sitting in there for a team meeting, and it's like 7 a.m. and most of us probably pretty hungover because we just had a night of lazy lizard or whatever, and we're rolling in there, and Barwis is about to kill us in the weight room. And we're like, what's Rich Rod going to do? He comes in, glass break, fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin, same guy every single day. Need to do this, need to do this, need to do this, sick of this, we need to do this, bang, bang, boom, and then we're out. It was like every day he was like the same exact person. It was one of the most impressive things.
Consistent.
Bingo. Like every single day he was like, now granted, entertaining, fiery, intense, hilarious.
Yeah.
Hill jack, so some shit's coming out that you've never heard before that you got to kind of piece together.
Yeah.
Can't laugh at him whenever he says whatever he says, but later certainly bring it back up. Do you remember when Rich said fuck whatever? Everybody laughs. It was like every day he was the same guy. It was so impressive. And you all have to do it if you want to have success, because in the locker room, we can just sniff it out.
Oh, yeah, you guys can smell it.
You know that because you played at Wall Street Journal. The whole
program. No respect for the Cardinals.
Okay, before we get out of here, is there any chance you'll give Bruce a little motivation as he tries to do a giveaway? Bruce, will you throw a football into that net right over there, Bruce?
Come on, Bruce.
Bruce, this is a big.
How's his arm? I don't know if I've seen this guy
He's a
throw.
Giants fan, so
yeah, he's a,
take it as you will.
Throwing lasers. I got a buddy that coaches for the Giants, so definitely want to see them have some success.
Who's that? Who's that?
John Agarugu. He's the linebackers coach there for the Giants.
Has he been on any of these Hard Knocks episodes? Have you watched?
I've only made it to 2. I haven't made it past that.
Fascinating stuff.
Pretty background look there.
Do you have any interest in the NFL ever?
No. I mean, I used to. That used to be a goal, and I enjoyed visiting with some teams this offseason, but not now. I think I found my niche.
Amen. Kirk Herbstreit said you're guaranteed to win.
It's over. Yeah.
All right, let's put this in the hole, man.
Okay, so if you hit any of those holes in the net right there,
any 3,
we'll give 20 people $500. All they got to do is repost this post, say something nice to somebody, and shout out Coach Dan Lanning. And the easiest way to pay you electronically. Bruce is a coastal elitist.
Well, and I can attest, I got here a little early. He has not been practicing, folks, so
I like that, sticking up for his player.
I'm just saying, he wasn't out here training. I didn't see him doing these shots when I showed up.
All right, Bruce, you got Jabba in your face. Can you make and bury a shot for 20 people to win 500?
Wow.
Too strong.
So
too strong. Hold on. Wait a minute. Coach, what?
Hey, you're amped right now.
It's a Michael Rubin
I need you to level out the heart
fastball.
rate. All right, just deep breath. Focus on breathing here. We're going to put this in the hole. Here we go.
That's good coaching. That's good coaching. Bruce, way to show up.
Hey, Bruce.
Coach, thank you so much. 20 people, $500. All you got to do is repost this, say something nice to somebody, shout out Coach Dan Lanning, and put the easiest way to pay you electronically. We'll be back on Monday. You're the greatest people on earth. Boys, great work in the back. Great work.
Hey, good work, boys.
Tom Diggs, great work in the hammer. Dahn all week. We appreciate you. Talks to Table, really good run. Really good run this week. Can't wait to see you guys in WWE 2K. Everybody's going to love it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And everyone's going to feel pain.
Yeah, they certainly are, especially whenever you're playing against Coach Dutch Danger.
Amen.
Shout out to Pretty Much Sports. Beautiful debut this week. Coach, thanks for making the time. Thanks for making the effort. And good luck the rest of the way. Be a friend. Tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. We're in this thing together. Team on me.
There you go, Coach.
Please, Coach. Jeez.
Could have been bad.
Out to lunch over there.
Well, he's all jacked up. He just got a Heisman winner. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Team. Goodbye.